Chapter 921. As soon as the news came out, the entire Cloud Realm was in an uproar. They did not expect that more than a dozen human islands have been breached by the Sea Demon Clan to rescue the Mermaid Princess and deal with Xiaoping. Are these sea demons crazy? Are they trying to start a war? Look at them. It seems like they're willing to fight with humans. The Mermaid Princess is so charming that so many sea demons have come out. Of course she is. The Mermaid Princess is known as the Pearl of the Endless Sea. Once you marry her, you will reach the sky in a single step. You will have a chance to become the son-in-law of the Mermaid King. Who doesn't want to win her heart? She is a woman who can bring disaster to a country and bring disaster to its people. Damn, this Xiaoping always causes trouble. He almost caused a war with the Wanyao Mountain. Now he is provoking the Sea Demon Clan. This brat never stops. Is there anyone who can control him? The humans on Orchid Island are so unlucky. They probably don't even know why they are being targeted by the sea demons. After one night, they have become captives of the sea demons. I wonder how this matter will be resolved. Many humans were shocked when they saw the news. They felt that a storm was coming. It was as if the dark clouds of war were brewing in the heads of countless humans. This was indeed the case. The humans on Orchid Island, Stone Bamboo Island, Coxcomb Island, Peacock Island, and other islands were all in a state of confusion. They were all living well when a disaster suddenly fell from the sky. A group of ferocious sea demons came and captured all of them. They could not escape. If they had enmity with these sea demons, they could forget about it. How could they not have a few enemies in the Jianghu? They also knew that they might be retaliated and were mentally prepared. But now, they had no enmity with this group of monsters, and they had never seen them before. Even this matter had nothing to do with them. But because of Xiaoping, they fell into such a situation and became captives. Was there still justice in this world? Was there any reason at all? Especially the Wang family. They were already weak because many of their grandmasters had died. Now that they were attacked by the sea demons, they suffered even more losses. If this continued, the Wang family might be destroyed. Xiaoping is a beast. He has nothing to do all day long, causing trouble everywhere. No one cares about him. Now it's great, even daring to capture the Mermaid Princess, instigating the wrath of the sea fiends, even bringing disaster to the fish pond, drowning us small fish and prawns, harming us. A captured Wang family elder said with grief and indignation, feeling extremely sullen. That night, he had planned to have a night of exercise with a concubine, but he did not expect a sea dragon demon to charge in. It nearly scared him to death. At that time, he was tied up and dragged away like a pig. It was a humiliating night, and he couldn't escape even if he wanted to. Damn that Xiaoping. That bastard was born to be at odds with our Wang clan. Brother Hailong, this matter has nothing to do with us. It's all Xiaoping's fault. If you want to find trouble, then go find him. What's the point of finding small fish and shrimp like us? That's right. To be honest, we also have enmity with that Xiaoping. Capturing us won't have any effect on him. It's better to release us. Every debt has a debtor. There's no point in capturing small shrimps like us. Many Wang family descendants shouted, hoping that the sea dragons would release them. They felt that they were too innocent. It was simply a disaster that fell from the sky. It was as if a person was walking on a road, and suddenly a meteorite came crashing down and smashed him to death. But the evil person next to them, who had done all sorts of evil and committed all sorts of crimes, did not die. Instead, he smashed them, who were always doing good deeds and were highly respected, to death. Did the heavens still have eyes? Could it be that good people really don't live long, and only bad people can live long? Shut up. A sea dragon demon sneered. You humans are all cunning and full of lies. Your words are like farts. I won't believe a single punctuation mark in your words. In short, if that Xiaoping doesn't release the Mermaid Princess, all of you will die. Every second you are late, one will die. You better pray that Xiaoping is sensible and immediately release the Mermaid Princess. That way, everyone will benefit. It was filled with killing intent. What? The faces of many Wang family descendants turned green. Didn't that mean that their lives were in Xiaoping's hands? If Xiaoping didn't release the Mermaid Princess and fought the monsters head-on, wouldn't they be dead meat? At the same time, they didn't think that this arrogant person who often caused trouble and even dared to auction off the descendants of demon kings would so easily agree to the threat of these sea demons. It didn't matter if that bastard didn't agree to the threat. After all, he was staying on the giant island. It was very safe, but they were different. They would die for sure. Xiaoping, you must agree to release the mermaid princess. Otherwise, I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. Many Wang family descendants shouted with ferocious expressions. Right now, they had no other choice. They could only pray that Xiaoping was a humane person and would care about their lives. At this moment, in the villa, Jiang Yaru, Su Ji, and Yu Qiqi also knew about this news. After all, this was the news that the entire internet was pushing. There was no reason for them not to know. It was impossible to hide it. Ha! Yu Qiqi looked at Xiaoping proudly. Foolish human, now you know how charming this princess is. Do you know what it means to pull one hair and it will affect the whole body? You still dare to say that this princess is here to eat and drink? Do you have any shame? Right now, the army is here to save this princess. Let's see what else you have to say. If you know what's good for you, apologize immediately and bribe this princess with all kinds of delicious food. Otherwise, you can imagine the consequences. How terrifying is this princess's anger? She was extremely smug. After waiting for 3 days, someone finally came to save this princess. She hadn't been forgotten. Bang! Xiaoping knocked her with an expressionless face. Ouch! Yu Qiqi hugged her little head, tears welling up in her eyes from the pain. Shameless human commoner, you dare to hit me? This princess will fight it out with you. She bared her fangs and brandished her claws. With a bang, Xiaoping knocked her again. The pain caused her to cry. She fell onto the chair, no longer daring to resist this tyrannical and dictatorial rule of this human. A bunch of little demons stirring up trouble here can make you so happy? Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back and said disdainfully, so what if a motley crowd is shouting? Can a bunch of sheep scare a ferocious tiger? Chapter 922. What idea do you have? Su Ji and Jiang Yara looked at Xiaoping curiously. They felt that the situation was very bad. With so many humans taken as hostages, there was nothing they could do. Moreover, with so many sea demon races attacking together, they were besieged on all sides. They felt that if they were in his shoes, they wouldn't be able to do anything. They could only let him do whatever he wanted. It doesn't matter what idea it is. Xiaoping waved his hand. Anyway, these little demons want to extort me? They don't even know how to write the word death. This time, I will make them suffer. Keep bragging. Yu Qiqi didn't believe Xiaoping's words at all. She looked at him with disdain. This was a joint operation of many powerful races, displaying their terrifying military power. How could it be so easy to deal with? She felt that this human was clearly bragging and bluffing, but in fact, her heart was already trembling with fear. With a smack, Xiaoping knocked her on the head expressionlessly, causing her to cry out in pain. Yu Qiqi's eyes widened. She wanted to eat Xiaoping like a meat bun. This human was too violent. He couldn't win against her in words, so he took action. Beep beep. At this time, Xiaoping's communicator rang. He subconsciously turned it on. With a smack, a holographic projection appeared in the hall. The one in front of him was the Sea Dragon Prince, Haipeng. Behind him was the Whale Prince, Jing Zhantian, and many other sea demon princes. At this moment, they were all gathered. Strange. How did you find my number? Xiaoping looked at the group of sea demons. We naturally have our methods. Haipeng sneered, cut the crap. We're only calling to tell you one thing. Release the mermaid princess as soon as possible and tie your own hands. Kneel down and kowtow to us as an apology. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. Rivers of blood will be the least of your worries. Remember, you only have 1 day to consider. You can't be late for even a second. He gave Xiaoping an ultimatum. No need. I don't need 1 day. Xiaoping said indifferently. I can give you an answer now. Humans will never accept this kind of blatant blackmail. You should give up on this idea. He immediately refused, not even taking a second to consider. Aren't you worried about the humans on Orchid Island? Now that they've been captured by us, they become prisoners. As long as I give the order, their heads will roll. Don't think that I'm joking. Haipeng's killing intent surged, revealing a threatening expression. He lightly flicked his finger. Immediately, many surveillance images appeared next to them. In the images, many humans were captured and shackled. They looked very pathetic, as if they were slaves. Then kill him. Xiaoping was very generous and did not accept threats at all. You think you can make me compromise just because you captured some humans to threaten me? You really overestimate yourself. I'll be honest with you, demons. Even if I have to kill all the humans on Orchid Island and the other islands, I will not bow down to you demons or beg for mercy. Furthermore, I believe that the humans on Orchid Island and the other islands are also hot-blooded. Even if their heads were chopped off, they wouldn't even frown. Even if I'm tortured, I won't beg for mercy from you demons. Blow my ass. The Wang family disciples also saw the conversation between Xiaoping and Haipeng. Because Haipeng was right in front of them, he chose to communicate with Xiaoping without any intention of hiding. Initially, they were hoping that Xiaoping would sacrifice himself and apologize to the sea demons, release the mermaid princess, and save them. However, after hearing Xiaoping's words, they were so angry that their lungs almost exploded. They immediately cursed out loud. Shameless Xiaoping, how dare you say such things? Do you have any shame? He's obviously afraid of death and doesn't dare to fight the sea demons, so he's using us as a shield. Oh my God, look at what this kid is saying. He said that we're hot-blooded humans. Even if our heads are chopped off, we won't frown. Even if we're tortured, we won't beg for mercy. It sounds better than singing. You're not the one who's *king captured. Of course you can be arrogant here, saying that you're unyielding and never surrender. So what if you're hot-blooded? If you're hot-blooded, you have to die. Is there any logic in not saving us? King Xiaoping, you only know how to make sarcastic remarks and watch us die. He's clearly afraid of death, yet he says he's hot-blooded and won't bow down to the sea demons. His skin is thicker than the city walls. Shameless to the extreme. Hearing this, I want to vomit. Do you know that? Xiaoping, if you have any conscience, hurry up and release the mermaid princess and save us poor and innocent people. The Wang family disciples cursed and felt extremely aggrieved. They could finally tell that this kid was a selfish, cold-blooded, and ungrateful person who was afraid of death. If they wanted this guy to sacrifice himself to save people, it would be better to hope that pigs could fly up trees. If Xiaoping were to appear in front of them right now, they would definitely disregard their own safety and bite this bastard to death for not saving them. Xiaoping. Haipeng's expression was very gloomy. Did you hear that? Are you willing to watch these humans die in front of your eyes? If you don't save them, there will be no place for you in the entire human society. You will become a street rat, and everyone will curse you to death. His plan was very simple. If Xiaoping did not save them, then his reputation in the human society would be tarnished. When that happened, this kid would not be able to stay in the human society anymore. He would probably be crushed by public opinion. This was a very sinister plan. This was using the moral high ground to deal with the enemy. Reputation. Xiaoping was very speechless. His reputation in the human society was worse than dog **T. He was a coward, lecherous, shameless, evil, and bullied people. He had all the words that a villain should have. Even if he did not save them, it was not a big deal. It was like a piece of black paper. Even if there was a black dot on it, no one would be able to see it, and no one would care. If he was a good person, perhaps this matter would be very serious and force him to take action. Unfortunately, he was not a good person at all. If they wanted to use this plan to deal with him, they've found the wrong target. Cut the crap. Xiaoping said indifferently. If you have the guts, then do it. If you dare to kill a human, I will go to the underwater world and slaughter one of your sea dragon race's cities. If I kill 10, I will slaughter 10 cities. I want to see if your sea dragon race has more people or my human race. Chapter 923. Slaughter 10 cities? The sea dragon prince, Haipeng, seemed to have heard a huge joke. Are you kidding me? Do you think that the cities of my sea dragon race are so easily breached by you humans? Don't think that you are alone. Even if a human army came to the underwater world, they would only be trash. The ocean is the territory of our sea demon race. You humans are not qualified at all. He sneered, thinking that Xiaoping was joking. This wasn't him being arrogant. This was the truth. Humans couldn't even breathe in the water. So how could they defeat them in the underwater world? The other sea demons looked at Xiaoping in disdain, thinking that this human was talking nonsense. This was the contempt that the sea demons had for humans for a long time. They didn't care about humans at all. Don't talk nonsense. Kill if you want. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. I want to see if you have the guts to kill. Don't blame me for not warning you in advance. After saying this, he hung up the phone. He couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with these sea demons. What? Many sea demons saw that Xiaoping hung up the phone without any warning. He had no intention of negotiating at all. They were so angry that their faces turned pale and their bodies trembled. Bastard human, you still dare to say that we don't have the guts to kill. All right, I will kill a few humans to show this brat that we don't have the guts to kill humans. A sea demon was enraged by Xiaoping's words. He immediately wanted to kill a few humans to scare the monkeys. Don't be impulsive. Don't fall for this human's evil trick. Haipeng's eyes flickered, and he immediately stopped this sea demon. If we really fall for this human's provocation, I'm afraid it will be a little troublesome. I think this despicable human is deliberately provoking us so that we will kill all these humans. This way, he doesn't need to worry about the public opinion of humans. Then he will point the spearhead at our sea demon race. We will share a common enemy, and he will turn into a great hero to avenge the dead humans. This is killing two birds with one stone. What? Many sea demons were shocked. What a shameless human. He has no sympathy at all. For himself, he actually watched these humans die. Doesn't he feel sad at all? They were all terrified by Xiaoping's evil plan. Many of the Wang family's disciples were sullen. How could that bastard be sad? After all, there was enmity between them, and they had fought before. If they died, that bastard Xiaoping would shed a single tear, and they would lose. As for the humans on the other islands, they were all from the king's family and didn't know Xiaoping at all. How could they have any feelings for these strangers? Don't worry. This brat is unmoved, but there will be someone who will feel anxious. Haipeng sneered. I've investigated. The humans on these islands all seem to be from king clans. Because of the previous war, these kings were transferred away by the giant company. They weren't protected by their families, so we easily broke through the fortress and captured all of them. Now that the descendants of the king clans are in our hands, do you think these human kings wouldn't be anxious? Once they get anxious, I'm afraid we won't even need to do anything. Those human kings will find trouble with that human Xiaoping. In any case, let's just wait and watch the show. There's still one more day. Let's wait and see. It was strategizing and seemed to have calculated everything. Amazing, truly amazing. As expected of the crown prince of the sea dragon race. His intelligence surpasses others. No matter how arrogant that human is, he probably won't be able to escape from the crown prince's palm. Haha. Then we'll just wait and watch the show. We'll wait and see these humans bite each other like dogs. Many of the sea demons laughed loudly. They weren't idiots and instantly understood what Haipeng meant. Just as Haipeng expected, an hour after he hung up the phone, over 10 human kings appeared at the entrance of Xiaoping's villa. They wanted to discuss something with Xiaoping. These human kings were none other than the Wang family patriarch, Wang Kong, the Lu family patriarch, Lu Yuan, the Pan family patriarch, Panda, and so on. They were all the kings of the clans that had been captured by the sea demons. They had all come looking for him because of this matter. Young man, you're a smart person. I believe you know very well what's going on. As soon as they entered the villa, the Wang family patriarch, Wang Kong, went straight to the point. My grandson, granddaughter, and many other descendants of the Wang family have fallen into the hands of these sea demons. They're in grave danger and can't be delayed. There's only one way to save them now, and that's to release the mermaid princess. You also have to apologize to these sea demons personally. Only then can this matter be resolved perfectly. I hope you can look at the big picture and not be stubborn. This isn't just my idea. It's the idea of all the kings here. I hope you can consider it, young man. There was a hint of threat in his tone. He used the identities of over 10 kings to pressure Xiaoping, trying to force him to lower his head. Interesting. You're using the identities of over 10 kings to pressure me. If you want me to release the mermaid princess, I'll do it. If you want me to apologize, I'll do it. Do you really think I'm scared? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and revealed a dangerous glint as he looked at the human kings. Young man, what do you mean by that? We came here to discuss with you, but you're saying that we're bullying you. Isn't that a little too much? The Liu family patriarch, Liu Yuan, said, I won't say much. You're also an adult. Think about it carefully. Which is more important, the lives of the humans on the islands or your personal honor? Lower your head and release the mermaid princess, and you'll be able to save the lives of the humans on the islands. You can ease the tension between the humans and the sea demons and avoid a war. Is such a request too much? You have to understand that this isn't just about you. His tone was old and mature, lecturing Xiaoping like a senior. That's right. In the first place, you were the one who messed around in this matter. That's why such a big problem arose. If you hadn't captured the mermaid princess, this wouldn't have happened. You've caused such a big problem. Of course, you have to solve this problem. You can't let everyone take the blame and clean up after you. You have to know what's appropriate. You have to admit your mistakes. You're still young. There's nothing you can't change. What's wrong with lowering your head? Although you do have talent and cultivation, you can't act recklessly and do whatever you want. Chapter 924. Are you done? If there's anything else you want to say, feel free to speak. I'm listening. Xiaoping looked at the dozen kings indifferently, unmoved. Young man, what do you mean by this? Are you not listening to a single word we said? The Wang family's ancestor, Wang Kong, stared at Xiaoping with a gloomy expression. The other human kings also had unfriendly expressions. This kid didn't give them any face. They were kings with lofty status in the Federation. With a single word, tens of millions of heads would fall to the ground. Who dared to not give them face? But this kid actually dared to refuse. Xiaoping said indifferently, the more words you say, the better. The most important thing is to have quality. Some people's words are powerful, while others speak like farts. Xiaoping, the Wang family's ancestor, Wang Kong, glared at Xiaoping. He could hear the sarcasm in Xiaoping's words. After listening to so much nonsense, I'm starting to wonder if you're spies of the demon race. Are you the demon race's spies among the humans? The elbow is always on the other side. Xiaoping looked at the group of human kings, just like that. You can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. You actually dare to slander us kings as spies of the demon race. Do you believe that we can immediately sue you for spreading rumors and make you bankrupt? You dare to insult the reputation of kings? Do you know that this is no small matter? The Liu family's ancestor, Liu Yuan, said sinisterly, if you're not spies of the demon race, then who is? Xiaoping sneered. A group of bandits broke into our home, burning, killing, and looting. They did all kinds of evil and unscrupulous things. Instead of thinking about how to kill the bandits, take revenge, and protect our home, you're thinking about how to curry favor with the bandits and apologize. If this kind of person isn't a spy, then who is? If you're not in cahoots with the bandits, why are you speaking up for them? Hearing this, the Pan family's ancestor, Panda, was stunned for a moment before saying, this matter is different. Moreover, our descendants have been captured, and they have something on us. This matter must be considered at length. We can't act rashly. Without waiting for him to finish, Xiaoping waved his hand. What's the difference? They dared to invade human territory and capture humans. This is even more proof that those monsters deserve to die. What you kings should do now is to immediately dispatch an army and kill all these demons that dare to invade our human territory as a warning to others. Instead of coming here to threaten our own people and speak up for the demons, that's what a traitor would do. The Pan family's ancestor, Panda, was extremely sullen. The problem is that our people have been captured by that sea monster. If we act blindly without thinking, I'm afraid they won't be able to keep their lives. He was very worried about his descendants. Shut up. Xiaoping immediately interrupted Pan Da's words. So what if we catch them? So what if we lose our lives? When you sailed on the sea and encountered storm, did anyone die? In the endless sea, you searched for new islands, found resources, and fought with the sea monsters. Did anyone die? When the sea monsters went crazy and launched a beast tide to invade human islands, a war broke out. Did anyone die? You all dared to come to the endless sea to open up new territories, to obtain a large amount of resources, wealth, and to live such a dangerous life. You all should have been prepared long ago and disregarded life and death. Yet, you're still afraid of death. What a joke. He stared at the human kings present. Today, we humans have such glory, intimidated all the races in the cloud realm, and became the overlord. We didn't rely on bowing and kneeling, nor did we rely on apologizing, nor did we rely on compromising. We relied on the white bones of our ancestors, the fearless corpses that killed tens of thousands of races and made them retreat in fear. That's why we have today's achievements. Today, all of you have forgotten your bravery. Just because you're afraid of death, you want to apologize to these bandits and compromise. If the ancestors of the human race were to see how useless you are right now, I'm afraid they would crawl out of hell in anger. How can you face the human ancestors? He had a look of exasperation on his face. The group of kings blushed. It was the first time in their lives that they had been scolded by a junior like this. However, they couldn't refute him because his words were reasonable. No, it's not like that. However, the ancestor of the Wang family, Wang Kong, instinctively felt that something was wrong. He wanted to say something to refute Xiaoping. If this continued, they would probably be fooled. What do you mean it's not like that? You're just a bunch of cowards. Xiaoping didn't plan to give him a chance to speak. However, just because you're afraid of death doesn't mean that the humans on Orchid Island and the other islands are the same. I've talked to them before and understood some things. They all agreed that we absolutely can't accept the threat of the monsters. Even if we die, we can't let the sea monsters have their way. It could be said that they're already prepared to die. At that time, I was very touched. As expected of the descendants of the king families, all of them are brave men, loyal and unyielding, fearless in the face of danger. It's because of the existence of such heroes that we humans have been able to survive through countless dangers and survive. However, you actually want to trample on the will of these heroes and lower your heads to the sea monsters. This is something I can't tolerate. Even if an invincible king is here, I'll make sure his blood splatters 3 feet high. The ancestor of the Pan family, Panda, was dumbfounded. Really? Do the men of the Pan family have such courage? The other kings were also dumbfounded. Everyone, don't listen to him. He's talking nonsense. The ancestor of the Wang family, Wang Kong, was so angry that his beard was curling up. He understood some of the situation. At the very least, the people of the Wang family definitely didn't have the spirit to rather die than submit. All of them hoped to return safely. I'm not happy when you say that. How is it nonsense? Do you think that all of them are cowards who are afraid of death? When they see the monsters, their bones turn soft, and they want nothing more than to crawl on the ground and become the slaves of the sea monsters. Xiaoping cast a sidelong glance at him. Wang Kong, the bones of your Wang family are soft, and they've lost their courage. But that doesn't mean that the Pan family is the same. Panda was instantly dissatisfied. He thought that Wang Kong was discriminating against them. The other kings also nodded. None of them were happy to hear that their descendants were cowards who were afraid of death. This was extremely damaging to their reputation. I didn't mean that. Wang Kong was extremely sullen. He was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. Previously, the kings had been targeting Xiaoping. Why were they targeting him now? Why did such a sudden change happen? I don't care what you mean. Xiaoping waved his hand. In any case, you guys can go back. I'll take care of this matter. Even if all the humans on those islands are killed, I'll take revenge for them. Of course, I don't think those monsters have the guts to kill humans. He ordered them to leave. Chapter 925. After seeing the human kings leave, Su Ji and Jiang Yar walked out. Su Ji looked at Xiaoping with a strange expression. You tricked them into leaving just like that. It's just a small trick. The main thing is that they realize that they can't use their king's identity to suppress me. They can't do anything to me on the giant island, so they had no choice but to leave. Xiaoping said lightly. But how do you plan to deal with this? Jiang Yaru asked curiously. She felt that if she didn't solve this problem, those human kings would come back sooner or later. After all, they were kings, the supreme existence of the human world. If they stayed on planet Yanhuang, they wouldn't be qualified to meet such a top character. But now, Xiaoping was facing such a character without fear. He was talking and laughing. This was quite amazing. Ordinary grandmasters would be scared to the point that their legs went soft when they saw a king. How would they dare to say such words to a king? How do I deal with it? Xiaoping touched his chin. First, I'll meet this so-called Sea Dragon Prince. I'll give him a big gift and teach him how to be a person. What? Jiang Yaru was stunned. You plan to go to the temporary base of the Sea Dragon Prince? Are you crazy? That's a dragon's pool and tiger's den. If you go there, I'm afraid you won't be able to come back. She looked at Xiaoping as if she was looking at a madman. Suji didn't expect Xiaoping to have such a crazy idea. For you, it's a dragon's pool and tiger's den. For me, it's just my back garden. I can come and go as I please. Xiaoping waved his hand. He was wearing a universal protective suit. His defense was off the charts. Unless an invincible king personally attacked him, no one could kill him. With his suit, he could come and go freely. If he couldn't win, he could still escape. Late at night, Orchid Island. This island, which originally belonged to humans, was now occupied by the elite troops of the Sea Dragon clan. It had become a temporary base for the Sea Dragon clan. On the island, soldiers of the Sea Dragon clan could be seen everywhere. They were constantly patrolling and guarding the island. At this moment, in the main hall of the Orchid Island City Lord Manor, there were many demonic race geniuses gathered. They were the Sea Dragon tribe's Prince Hai Peng, the Whale tribe's Prince Jing Zhantian, the Octopus tribe's Prince Zhang Ming, and so on. They were all gathered in this place to conspire. What happened? A sea demon prodigy looked at Hai Peng and asked, "Didn't you say that the humans would definitely have internal strife, and that the human Xiaoping would definitely be pursued by many human monarchs? He would be badly battered and would have no choice but to bow down to us and apologize? More than half a day has passed, and there's no news at all. It's all calm. Why can't I see any sincerity in releasing the mermaid princess?" It was very dissatisfied. "Shut up," another sea demon prodigy shouted. "The sea prince naturally has his own plans. What are you babbling about? Is this something that the sea prince can decide? We have no way of knowing what decisions humans can make." It stood up to defend Hai Peng. "That's not what I meant. I'm just saying that if Xiaoping really refuses to compromise and would rather let all the humans on these islands die than hand over the mermaid princess or apologize, what should we do?" The sea demon prodigy said. "Are we really planning to start a war with the humans?" He was very worried about this. "If you want to fight, then let's fight. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of those weak humans?" Whale Prince Jing Zhantian sneered. "If those weak humans dare to come, I'll kill them with a single slap." A berserk aura emanated from his body. Everyone knew how terrifying the whale race was. They were known as one of the strongest races in the endless sea. Once they transformed into their true form, they would be hundreds of meters long with unparalleled strength. Even though Jing Zhantian was in human form, he was still 5 or 6 meters tall, like a giant. His entire body was covered in armor-like muscles, and even laser guns couldn't penetrate his defenses. That's right. If they want to start a war, that's exactly what I want. These humans have been acting arrogantly in the endless sea for a long time, and we've never done anything about them. Now is the perfect opportunity to show these land creatures who the true overlords of the endless sea are. Octopus Prince Zhang Ming sneered. He had 8 arms, each holding a sharp saber. He used the 8 saber stream and was known as the Saber Grandmaster of the Sea Demon race. Once he waved his saber, the saber light and sword shadows would instantly cut his enemies into hundreds of pieces, unable to resist. The human king didn't react. This prince has indeed miscalculated. I didn't expect these humans to be so cold-blooded and merciless. They never put their own kind in their eyes, Hai Peng said coldly. But that doesn't matter. Once the time is up, we'll personally take action and slaughter these humans. We'll kill the chickens to scare the monkeys and intimidate them. If killing the humans on 10 islands isn't enough to intimidate them, then we'll kill 20, 30, or even 100. I want to see if they can still remain indifferent and turn a blind eye to us. His killing intent soared, and a terrifying killing intent that was almost tangible filled the air. The other sea demons nodded. If they didn't slaughter these humans when the time was up, wouldn't that mean that they were really afraid of these humans? Even if it was for their own dignity, these captive humans had to die. Rumble, at this moment, a huge whirlpool of air appeared above Orchid Island. Terrifying vibrations immediately spread out, and the sea demons immediately sensed it. What? Hai Peng and the other sea demon prodigies originally wanted to discuss something, but they suddenly sensed such a strange movement. All of them looked outside, wanting to know what was happening. Report. Immediately, a sea dragon soldier rushed in from outside the hall. With a horrified expression, he shouted, "A human super battleship suddenly appeared above the island. The humans are attacking. The humans are attacking." The sea demon prodigies were shocked. This was too fast. They were just talking about the humans, and they didn't expect the humans to attack so quickly. They didn't even have time to react. Dong! The ceiling of the city lord's mansion immediately shattered. As if a huge meteorite had fallen from the sky, it instantly smashed through the ceiling and landed heavily on the ground of the hall. Soon, a deep pit with a diameter of several meters appeared on the ground. Gravel flew everywhere, and at the same time, cracking sounds could be heard. Countless cracks spread on the ground like a spider web. Whoosh, a strong wind blew, and the dust that filled the hall dissipated. Immediately, a human figure appeared. When all the demons present saw the figure clearly, many of the sea demon prodigies were shocked. Xia Ping of the human race. Chapter 926. No way. Xia Ping of the human race? Why would he come here? Many of the sea demons were dumbfounded. They had just been discussing how to deal with this brat, coming up with all kind of plans. Some had even said that they would definitely kill him the moment they saw him. But now this brat had really appeared in front of them. For a moment, they couldn't even react. Xia Ping, what are you doing here? Hai Peng and the other sea demon geniuses all stared at Xia Ping, this uninvited guest. They all knew that those who came didn't come with good intentions, and those with good intentions wouldn't come. What am I doing? Don't you know what you've done? Aren't you very clear in your hearts? I'm here to give you a lesson. I'll let you know what the rules of the land are. Xia Ping stood in front of the sea demons, his hands clasped behind his back, his eyes filled with a frightening coldness. The rules of the land are very simple. There's only one rule. Don't provoke humans. Bullshit. A puny human dares to be so arrogant? It's good that you're here. I'll kill you, and then I'll see who else dares to kidnap the mermaid princess. Die. The first to attack was Jing Zhantian. As a member of the whale race, he was a tyrant in the endless sea. Relying on his gigantic body and violent strength, he had almost no natural enemies. This also gave him an arrogant personality. He didn't think about how Xia Ping had arrived at Orchid Island so quickly, nor did he think about why he had come here alone. He just wanted to kill this damned human with a single punch and put an end to all his troubles. Boom! In the blink of an eye, Jing Zhantian's enormous body moved. His movement was like a raging fire in a forest, carrying with it a violent aura that set off a terrifying storm in all directions. The entire hall shook and the earth quaked. Smoke and dust billowed. All the sea demons present hurriedly moved away from the center of the storm to avoid being caught in it. Once a member of the whale race was enraged, they would lose all sense of reason. They wouldn't differentiate between friend and foe, and with their violent strength, who knew how many enemies they would kill? This human is dead for sure. He actually dared to come here alone. How bold! I've long heard that this human is extremely daring to do anything. I didn't think that he would come here to throw his life away. He's completely brainless. It's best if he's brainless. Boorish people are the easiest to kill. Looks like we don't even need to do anything. Jing War Heaven alone should be enough. That's only natural. Jing Zhantian is at the 8th level of the Supreme Power Realm. Even ordinary monsters at the peak of the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm are no match for him. One punch, and they'll turn them into minced meat. There's nothing we can do about it. The power of the whale race is too violent. It's not something an ordinary race can compare to. How many moves do you think this human can take? 3 moves. Originally, 1 move would have been enough. However, this human is quite famous. Perhaps he has some ability, but 3 moves is his limit. Or rather, this is the limit of the human race. The difference in talent between races is something that cannot be made up for. All of the sea demons present sneered as they watched from the sidelines. They felt that Jing Zhantian alone was more than enough. Any more sea demons would just be a waste of power. Jing Zhantian had used his full strength right from the get-go. It was as if he didn't have any concept of mercy in his head. This kind of fist technique was meant to kill. It was simple and crude, and he wouldn't rest until he destroyed his opponent. The strength of this fist was truly terrifying. Immediately, the astral energy in the air vibrated, seemingly condensing into a giant whale. It took on a physical form and swam through the void, fiercely smashing towards Xiaoping, stirring up winds and waves for several kilometers. Xiaoping didn't even look at it. He stood where he was, trembled, exploded, and punched out to meet it head-on. Is this human looking to die? Many of the sea demons were stunned. In the face of such a ferocious punch, not only did he not dodge, but he actually chose to meet the incomparably strong Jing Zhantian head-on. If this wasn't courting death, then what was? Previously, some of the sea demons had thought that it would take 3 punches to kill the human, but that was because the human's dodging ability was amazing. Now, however, it seemed that this human was seeking his own death by going head-on against Jing Zhantian. They reckoned that 1 punch would really be enough to kill this human. One was 5 or 6 meters tall and was as strong as a small mountain, while the other was the size of an ordinary human. The difference in size was too great, and so was their fists. How could this human defeat Jing Zhantian? Boom! The 2 fists collided, and a terrifying force exploded forth. It was like 7 or 8 volcanoes had erupted at the same time, and a terrifying shockwave swept out in all directions, causing countless cracks to appear on the ground. A whirlpool of air was formed at the center of their battle. Each stream of air seemed to be able to grind up everything, and even steel would be ground to dust if it entered it. But to the surprise of all the sea demons, the incomparably arrogant, complacent, and condescending Jing Zhantian suddenly let out a blood-curdling scream, like a pig being slaughtered. His face was ashen, and a large amount of blood blossomed from his fist. One of his thick arms had actually been turned into a pile of meat paste. Just like that, his entire arm had been blasted away. The powerful fist force even transmitted to its body, sending its huge body flying. It scraped across the ground, making cracking sounds as it slid for 2 to 3 kilometers. Along the way, he smashed through over a dozen walls, and a deep crack appeared in the ground. Finally, he fell to the ground, coughing out mouthful after mouthful of blood. The ground was drenched in blood. Jing Zhantian was stunned, and he looked at Xiaoping in shock. Even if you beat him to death, he would never have imagined that he would be sent flying by a single punch from this human. The terrifying power that he was so proud of was completely useless in front of this human. The moment their fists collided, he immediately felt a terrifying spiral energy coming from the human's fist. It was like a whirlpool that was constantly grinding away at him. In just an instant, the explosive power of his fist was completely absorbed. Then, this power exploded within his body, and he couldn't block it at all. A single punch had sent him flying, and he had even lost an arm. Not bad. Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. You didn't die after taking a punch from me, and only lost an arm. As expected of the whale race. This kind of physique is truly extraordinary, and not something that ordinary races can compare to. He was a little surprised, and thought that Jing Zhantian would be killed by a single punch. After all, he had mastered the power of the spiral, which was the fist technique of a sage. It was a piece of cake for him to challenge someone of a higher level. Moreover, he had now advanced to the 6th level of Supreme Power Realm. Ordinary 8th level Supreme Power Realm masters were no match for him at all. Only cultivators at the peak of the 9th level of Supreme Power Realm were qualified to fight him. It was already very impressive that Jing Zhantian could take a punch from him and not die. This was enough to prove his strength. Chapter 9:27. It had to be known that Jing Zhantian was a prominent figure in the Endless Sea. He was the prince of the Whale clan and was extremely talented. Relying on his clan's innate talent, he was tyrannical and almost invincible. But in the eyes of this human, such a proud son of heaven, the seed of a king, was merely a little capable, an insignificant existence that could survive a single punch. Even if he looked down on others, there should be a limit. Many sea demons glared at Xia Ping angrily, as if they wanted to eat this human alive. Although Jing Zhantian was the one who had lost face, he was also a member of the Sea Demon clan. If he lost face, it would be the same as the entire Sea Demon clan losing face. With a swoosh, Zhang Ming, the prince of the Octopus clan, jumped out. Human, Jing Zhantian only has a little ability. What about my ability? In the blink of an eye, his 8 hands danced in the air, each holding a treasured saber that could cut through iron as if it were mud. Each of these treasured sabers was not simple. They had been forged from deep frigid iron by a Grandmaster blacksmith, along with countless precious materials, over a period of 49 days. It could be said that these 8 treasured sabers were incomparably terrifying. They were all compatible with the power of the Octopus clan. With a single slash, saber chi would sweep out, and even a small mountain would be split in half. Zhang Ming did not hold back. He immediately attacked Xia Ping, using the Octopus clan's saber technique, Universe 8 Saber Stream. Swoosh! Swoosh! In that instant, the 8 treasured sabers attacked at the same time. 8 terrifying saber lights attacked at the same time, as if they were going to split the earth in half. So strong, many sea demons' pupils shrank. They were all shocked by the Octopus Prince's battle prowess. Even among the sea demons, the Octopus clan was considered one of the strongest. It had 8 hands, and each of them was as nimble as a human's. Now that these 8 hands were waving at the same time, it was like 8 people attacking Xia Ping. He might be able to block 1 or 2 sabers, but he might not be able to block 5 or 8 sabers. This was the terror of the Octopus clan. As long as one was hit by 8 sabers, they would undoubtedly die. Not bad saber technique. A cold light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes. He could also see that Zhang Ming's strength was extraordinary. He had reached the peak of the Supreme Power Realm at the 8th heaven. He was only 1 step away from the Supreme Power Realm at the 9th heaven. Its sword Dao cultivation had reached the acme of perfection. It was estimated that it had immersed itself in sword Dao cultivation for at least 20 to 30 years. It trained hard every day and never slacked off. Every time he swung the knife, it was as if he was extending his arm. He was extremely agile and did not waste any energy. He was like a brilliant surgeon performing a precise surgery. Moreover, the other party had 8 arms, and his talent was astonishing. If an ordinary human were to encounter him, it would be practically impossible for them to defeat him. The difference between them was too great. This kind of talent was like the legendary martial path Mystique, 3 heads and 6 arms. However, no matter how powerful it was, Xia Ping did not take it seriously. The difference between them was too great. After witnessing the fist technique of the sage, this so-called knife technique was simply full of mistakes. He didn't even need to dodge. Dark North Body Protection Technique. Xia Ping stepped out, his hands turned into a circle, and the tyrannical Gang Qi burst out from his 108,000 pores, instantly forming a huge Qi shield covering his whole body. At the same time, there seemed to be a huge Kunpeng rising behind him, wandering in the void, constantly shaking its tail, setting off huge waves in the void, rumbling. Bang, bang, bang. In a flash, Zhang Ming's attack came in an instant. 8 terrifying saber lights fiercely slashed on the chi shield. Suddenly, there was a clanging sound, as if it was slashing on steel, splashing a lot of sparks. But no matter how he attacked, the chi shield was still as firm as a rock and could not be shaken. What? Zhang Ming was shocked. He found that his treasure saber couldn't cause any harm to Xia Ping's defensive qigong. It seemed to be in an absolute defense. Even its 8 hands felt numb, and the frightening rebounding force from the defensive barrier almost caused its treasured saber to fly out of its hands. Take my punch. Xia Ping didn't show any mercy. He rushed forward and punched the air. This punch was like a kunpeng swinging its tail, its huge body charging forward. This kind of power was like the primordial god Gong smashing into Mount Buzhou, causing the earth to shake and the mountains to shake. This punch even contained the power of a vortex, a spiral force that created an enormous suction force. It locked onto Zhang Ming's aura, sealing all of his movements and leaving him nowhere to run. No way. Is this the punch that Jing Zhantian just faced? How could it be so terrifying that I can't even escape? Previously, Zhang Ming had looked down on Jing Zhantian, thinking that Jing Zhantian didn't live up to his name. He was clearly from the powerful whale race, but he couldn't even block a punch from a puny human. But now that he was facing Xia Ping's punch, he realized that his thinking was wrong, completely wrong. When this punch came, it felt like endless darkness had enveloped his soul, as if he had fallen into a vortex with nowhere to run. It also felt like he was being surrounded by countless evil spirits, tearing at his soul. This was a punch that surpassed the king level, reaching a mysterious realm. Even if he was an invincible king, he didn't think that a master realm martial artist could display such power. This was already beyond the limits of the martial arts of the Sky Realm. This was not a martial art of mortals. Dong! This punch hit Zhang Ming. It was like a morning bell or evening drum, emitting a crisp sound. Countless streams of air exploded, and a terrifying force blasted toward Zhang Ming's body. In an instant, his entire body was sent flying, sliding across the ground for 2 or 3 kilometers. Even the 8 arms on its body were broken and drenched in blood. The 8 treasured sabers also fell to the ground with a clanking sound, creating deep pits and sending sparks flying in all directions. Zhang Ming fell to the ground, heavily injured. He couldn't help but cough up a mouthful of blood as he looked at the human Xia Ping in shock. As the saying went, a person's name was like a tree's shadow. Now, he finally understood that this monstrous genius, whose name resounded throughout the human world, who was viewed as a great emperor by the entire myriad demon mountain, was not as simple as he had imagined. His strength and martial arts were extraordinary, as if there was a divine beast living inside this human's body. Many sea demons looked at this scene in shock. They couldn't accept that Jing Zhantian had lost, but now, even the famous Zhang Ming couldn't withstand a single blow from this human. If they weren't standing there, they would have thought that they were hallucinating. No way. Even Zhang Ming isn't a match for this human. How can he be so powerful? This doesn't make sense. It makes too much sense. Many sea demons clenched their fists, staring at this human Xia Ping. Who else wants to die? Chapter 928. You're courting death. Hearing Xia Ping's arrogant words, Hai Ping's face darkened to the extreme, as black as ink. The sea demons that knew him knew that he was on the verge of exploding in anger. Being humiliated by Xia Ping like this, a proud prince like him simply could not stand it. If Xia Ping was a subordinate, he would have been killed dozens of times, and his entire clan would have been exterminated. See, Prince, this human is just an invader. We don't need to be polite with him. That's right. Let's attack together and capture him. Attacking one by one is stupid. We are at war. There's no need to talk about morality with him. Many sea demons stared at Xia Ping with murderous intent. Originally, they thought that a sea demon prodigy would be able to end this human, but now that they saw Xia Ping's strength, they realized that this idea was too naive. But even so, it did not matter. They had the advantage in numbers, and they were still in their nest. No matter how powerful this little human was, could he overturn the heavens? Kill. Haipeng's answer was very simple, only one word, but it showed the murderous intent in his heart. Even if he had to use all his subordinates, he would make this human stay here forever, daring to offend the Sea Dragon Prince. This humiliation must be washed away with blood. Human, go to hell and repent. In an instant, 3 swordfish grandmasters jumped out from the left. Their heads were pointed like sharp arrows. Don't be fooled by their strange appearance. They were the fastest of all the sea demons. When sailing in the sea, they were like sharp arrows shuttling back and forth. Anything in front of them would be pierced in an instant. Nothing could stop them. Even titanium alloy was as fragile as tofu in front of them. Ordinary swordfish would surpass the speed of sound when swimming in the sea. As swordfish grandmasters, their speed was even more terrifying. Often, when humans sailed on the sea, they would be pierced through by the swordfish clan in an instant, and the entire ship would sink to the bottom of the endless sea. They were also known as the sonic killers of the sea. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Sonic booms reverberated all around as the 3 swordfish clan grandmasters attacked with terrifying killing intent, aiming at the vital parts of Xiaoping's body. The human's head belongs to my electric eel clan. All other sea demons scram. The 3 grandmasters of the electric eel clan attack from the right. They were not willing to fall behind, and their speed was almost as fast as the swordfish clan. The electric eel clan was known as the lightning controller of the sea. Their bodies contained a strong electric current. Even when they were still infants, they were still extremely dangerous creatures. The slightest touch would cause an electric current that could electrocute a human to death. Not to mention, the grandmasters of the electric eel clan could control the power of thunder in their bodies to the acme of perfection. They could even release tens of thousands of volts of electricity in an instant, charring their entire bodies. Zzz. In the void, blue electric currents immediately filled the air. They were as thick as a finger, and suddenly, hundreds of them appeared. They all bombarded Xia Ping's body in a frenzy, covering the entire area. Humans also seem to be very delicious. I wonder what exactly this human genius tastes like. My shellfish race will give a try. The 3 grandmasters of the shellfish race charged out from middle. Their bodies were wrapped in a giant shell, which was engraved with mysterious ancient inscriptions. It contained a mysterious power, and there seemed to be a special energy shield covering their entire bodies. The shellfish race had an extremely strong defense, and it was not inferior to the sea turtle race. The defense of their shells was off the charts. Even if dozens of missiles exploded, they would not be able to harm their bodies in the slightest. They even had a devouring power. Once an enemy was completely covered by their shells, they would quickly devour the enemy along with their bones. Their bodies would quickly secrete a terrifying sulfuric acid liquid, which would quickly melt the enemy's body. Many sea demons were terrified of the shellfish race. It was said that the shellfish race was known as the gourmet of the sea. They had devoured countless creatures in the endless sea and were an extremely terrifying race with a cruel nature. The 9 great sea demon grandmasters attacked at the same time. Even a peak grandmaster monster would not have much luck. Many sea demons felt that this human was dead for sure. There was no reason for him to live. A bunch of seafood dares to clamor in front of me. Die. Xiaoping did not even look at them. He stomped on the ground like an ancient bull trampling on the earth. The entire hall, the entire city lord's mansion, or the area within a radius of 10 kilometers with Xiaoping's body as the center, shook violently. In an instant, from Xiaoping's body, a terrifying shockwave spread out, condensing into a solid substance. It was like the sound waves of the sea, stacking layer by layer and spreading out. It also contained the power of a spiritual attack, which fiercely bombarded the souls of the 9 great sea demon grandmasters. The 9 great sea demon grandmasters had not even reached Xiaoping's side. There was a distance of 5 or 6 meters between them, but they were immediately hit by the power of the sound waves. It was as if they had been hit on the back of the head by a hammer. The power was accurate and brutal, leaving no room for maneuver. What? The first to bear the brunt were the three swordfish grandmasters. They were horrified because they were the fastest, they were the vanguard, so they were the first to be unlucky. Boom! Xiaoping's fist smashed out like a meteor, smashing into the ground. The air was beaten into a barrier, condensing into a solid substance, and instantly bombarded the bodies of the three swordfish grandmasters. Ah! The three swordfish grandmasters let out shrill screams as they were hit by the fist. The terrifying spiral force exploded in their bodies, as if several tons of explosives had exploded at the same time. With a boom, they immediately exploded in mid-air, disintegrating into a mass of meat paste. Oh no! Seeing the three swordfish grandmasters die with a single punch, their bodies exploding and turning into meat paste, the three electric eel grandmasters were horrified. All the cells in their bodies trembled, and every cell was filled with a strong sense of crisis. It was as if the god of death was standing in front of them, smiling. They could not wait to immediately turn around and run, but it was already too late. Xiaoping closed in on them and slapped them. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of lightning bolts were instantly annihilated under this palm, turning into nothingness. It was as if they had been neutralized by the energy, disappearing completely. Boom! The three electric eel grandmasters were caught off guard and were immediately sent flying by Xiaoping's slap. They were unable to put up any resistance and just flew in midair. They flew for a full 2 or 3 kilometers before finally smashing into a hard concrete wall in the distance. With a crack, they were immediately slammed into the wall, hanging there like a painting. Their eyes were wide open, blood flowed from the corners of their mouths, and their internal organs were shattered. Chapter 9:29. Seeing Grandmaster Electric Eel and Grandmaster Swordfish die with a single palm and a single punch respectively, the Seashell Grandmasters, who had claimed that they wanted to eat Xiaoping, were so scared that they peed their pants. All the shells on their bodies retracted. They were filled with lingering fear. If they had been just a little bit faster, they would have ended up like the Grandmasters in front of them, easily beaten into a pile of dregs by Xiaoping. Not good, this brat is coming. Run. But very quickly, the three Seashell Grandmasters were scared half to death. Their pupils constricted. Xiaoping did not plan on letting them go. His figure flickered, leaving behind a series of afterimages in his original position. He was like a rock that flew through the air. In just a breath's time, he had neared the three Seashell Grandmasters and immediately kicked them. The power of this kick was not to be underestimated. It was like the legendary heavenly crippling kick that had the power to shake mountains. They all felt that Xiaoping's kick contained a terrifying whirlpool power. The air formed a whirlpool that was like a meat grinder. Once they were sucked in, not even their bones would be left. Seashell Race, Secret Technique, Absolute Defense. The three Seashell Grandmasters loudly shouted. The shells on their bodies immediately closed, and the ancient inscriptions on the shells trembled, emitting a deep blue energy barrier that spread outwards. Even the energy barriers between them fused together, forming a massive domain that covered a radius of several hundred meters. It seemed to isolate all energy. He actually used the Seashell Race's secret technique. Many of the sea demons were shocked. They had never thought that a tiny human would be able to force the Seashell Grandmasters to use their ultimate technique. This was basically a life-saving technique. Once the Seashell Race's secret technique was used, they would sacrifice a large portion of their attack power and use all of their power to carry out an absolute defense. The power of different Seashell Grandmasters could even fuse and evolve, making their defense even stronger. It was precisely because of this secret technique that the Seashell Race could run amok in the endless sea and swallow everything. They were known as the Taotai of the Endless Sea, but not many races could do anything to them. However, if they wanted to use the secret technique, it was a matter of life and death. After all, every time they used it, they would consume a large amount of their bloodline power and damage their foundation. Thus, they did not want to use it unless they had no other choice. Absolute defense? Truly a frog at the bottom of a well. This world is very big, and there are many martial arts that can break through the defenses of the shell race. Xia Ping coldly laughed and did not care at all as he continued to kick. Ever since he fought with the Saint image in a universe virtual network, it had greatly broadened his horizons. He no longer cared about ordinary martial arts. He could instantly see through the flaws. Although the stellar chi of these three seashells grandmasters was extremely powerful and could even strengthen each other, in the eyes of his golden crow eye, they were full of mistakes. In an instant, he found more than 10 flaws. Dong! This kick ruthlessly landed on the weak point of the absolute defense. Immediately, the entire chi cover exploded, and the tyrannical spiraling force bombarded the body of the three-headed seashell grandmaster. The three of them immediately let out mournful screams. To their horror, they discovered that their shells could not withstand the spiraling energy. It directly penetrated their shell's defense and seeped into their internal organs. In just a second, their bodies flew out and exploded in midair. Their insides turned into mush, and only 3 shells were left on the spot, clanging loudly. They're all dead. Many sea demons were dumbfounded, and deep shock appeared in the depths of their eyes. They had never thought that such a thing would happen. 9 great sea demon grandmasters had attacked at the same time to kill a human grandmaster. Now, not only had they not caused any harm to the human grandmaster, but they had been killed by a punch, a palm, and a kick. They had died in a very vexed manner. This human was really too strong. Go die. Dragon King Halberd. The moment Xia Ping killed the 9th Sea Demon Grandmaster, the Sea Dragon Prince Hai Peng suddenly moved. He felt that he couldn't continue like this. Otherwise, this human would definitely start a massacre and kill all the Sea Demon Grandmasters present. He saw that Xia Ping had a flaw in that instant and instantly took out his halberd. Like a real dragon, it tore through the air and stabbed towards Xia Ping's back. The power of this halberd was extremely terrifying. Whether it was the angle, power, or speed, they all reached the level of a peak Grandmaster. No Grandmaster demon would be able to withstand this attack. Moreover, this was a perfect sneak attack. While Xia Ping had no strength to fight back and was careless, he launched a fatal attack to stab Xia Ping to death with one blow. Vaguely, the surrounding sea demons seemed to see the surrounding astral energy congealing into the shape of a sea dragon, roaring in the void, shaking heaven and earth. It opened its mouth wide, as if it wanted to swallow Xia Ping whole. This was the famous peerless martial art of the Sea Dragon clan, the Dragon King Halberd. When the halberd struck, it was like the Dragon King had come to life, with the power to stir the sea, summon the wind, and summon the rain. It was invincible and invincible. You want to kill me? You're not qualified. Xia Ping sneered. Under the coverage of his mental strength, there was almost no blind spot. This Hai Peng thought that he could sneak attack him. He wanted to laugh his head off. With a bang, he grabbed the void and immediately grabbed the spear of hell from the space ring. Immediately, this weapon from hell was filled with a terrible aura. With the spear of hell as the center, it immediately covered a bloody world, as if falling into the Avicii hell. Without so much as a glance, he hurled the hell spear over. Rumble, the spear of hell spun violently in the air, producing a terrible piercing force. It tore through the void and attacked the sea rock with lightning speed. Dong! With just one strike, the Dragon King in the air seemed to be immediately penetrated from the head to the tail. The surrounding chi of heaven and earth collapsed inch by inch. This spear was simply like the spear of dragon slaying. Not good. The sea rock screamed. He could feel the horror of this spear. A faint bloody light appeared on the tip of the spear, and there seemed to be many remnant souls of hell creatures left on it. He seemed to see a picture of hell. A spear was stabbed into the bloody ground, and a bloody moon hung in the sky. There were many corpses of gods and demons around it. Blood flowed like a river, forming a mountain of corpses. It was filled with an ancient aura. Bang! The Sea Dragon clan's eldest prince was unable to resist. His right arm was instantly penetrated by the spear of hell. His entire body was pushed back by the powerful impact. In the end, he was nailed to a wall 3 kilometers away. The spear of hell buzzed, and its tail trembled. Blood dripped from the wound and scattered on the ground. This, Chapter 9:30. How is it? Did you pee your pants? Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at Hai Peng indifferently. I deliberately missed this shot. I didn't kill you for the time being to let you know that I can kill you at any time I want. In my eyes, the so-called Sea Dragon clan is like a reptile. I can trample it to death whenever I want. He looked down at the prince of the Sea Dragon clan as if he was looking at an ant. Hearing this, Hai Peng was shocked and angry, ashamed and annoyed. As the prince of the Sea Dragon clan, he had a noble status and amazing talent. He had long been used to being domineering in the underwater world. Except for his father, the Sea Dragon King, who else could he take seriously? Even if it was an ordinary king, he didn't care at all. Relying on his identity as the prince of the Sea Dragon clan, he was extremely arrogant, and no one dared to disrespect him. Now, a human had almost killed him. If the other party's hand had been a little bit shaken, he would have really died and met his ancestors directly. He was extremely resentful of this human who dared to humiliate him in public. He roared, "Go, kill this human together. Kill him, skin him, and pull out his tendons." Hai Peng had completely lost his mind. He ordered his subordinates to attack together. No matter what they had to do, they had to kill this shameless human who dared to humiliate him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as he said that, the Sea Demon Grandmasters present looked at each other. They didn't say anything, but they instantly closed in on Xiaoping, surrounding him tightly. Some used long swords, some used halberds, some used tentacles, some were barehanded. But each of them had at least reached the 8th sky of the Supreme Power Realm, and there were even sea demons at the 9th sky of the Supreme Power Realm. Their faces were ferocious, and they wanted to kill this human being and crush him into pieces. Dozens of terrifying Gangchi attacks came, just like dozens of missiles, containing the power to destroy a small island. The power was terrible. Is it useful to attack together? I'll tell you why humans on the land can't be provoked. With a bang, Xiaoping trampled on the ground, and at the same time, he used the precious weapon, the soul-absorbing bell. This precious weapon immediately made a clanging sound. With its body as the center, mysterious spiritual fluctuations invisible to the naked eye spread out, covering a radius of 2 or 3 kilometers. What? All of a sudden, many Sea Demon Grandmasters were shocked. As Xiaoping stomped on the ground, the entire space underwent a huge change. It was as if they had been pulled into another world. The soul-absorbing bell's power was unleashed, causing all of them to hallucinate and lose their souls. They felt as if they had arrived in a hellish world. Everywhere was dark, and they stepped on a blood-red ground. There were shocking skeletons everywhere, and blood chi permeated the air. A blood-red moon hung in the sky, and the angry roars of gods and devils could be heard from time to time, causing one's heart to palpitate. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Right at this moment, a series of violent vines flew out from the blood-colored ground, instantly binding all of their limbs and even their necks tightly. The vines had a pulling force of several tens of tons. No matter how they struggled, they were unable to break free from the demonic vines. They all felt waves of suffocation, as if they were ducks that had fallen into the sea. They were about to drown in the seawater and die of suffocation just like that. Bang, bang, bang. A few seconds later, they could not withstand the pressure and fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth, unconscious. Impossible. What the hell is happening? The Sea Dragon Prince Hai Peng, the Octopus Prince Zhang Ming, and the Whale Prince Jing Zhantian were all stunned. They did not know what had happened to these Sea Demon Grandmasters. They only saw this human lightly step on the ground. Immediately, these Sea Demon Grandmasters seemed to have been bewitched. They were all dumbstruck and lost their consciousness. In the next second, they foamed at the mouth and fell to the ground without the strength to fight. No matter how rich their imaginations were, they could not imagine what had happened. This was too strange. This soul-absorbing bell is really powerful. Xiaoping was very satisfied with the power of this artifact. This was a peerless weapon that directly targeted the soul. Only a life form with a powerful soul would be able to resist it. If one soul was not strong enough, then they would instantly faint under this kind of power. In fact, if he wanted to deliberately target an enemy, he could even shake them into an idiot. This was a powerful weapon for group attacks. No matter how many enemies there were, they would be useless in front of the soul-absorbing bell. Human, what did you do to my subordinates? Haipeng could not help but scream. He stared at Xiaoping. For the first time, he felt fear towards a puny human. He could not fight him at all. No, this might not be a human at all. He was a demon wearing human skin. Pow! Xiaoping stepped forward and slapped him. In an instant, Haipeng was slapped down from the wall. He spun a few times in the air and fell heavily to the ground. His face instantly swelled up like bread. At the same time, a red handprint appeared on his face. 2 or 3 teeth fell out his mouth. It looked very wretched. What are you screaming for? Did I allow you to speak? Xiaoping looked down at Haipeng, who was lying on the ground. He just looked at him. Haipeng was going crazy. With a smack, Xiaoping slapped him again. It was a symmetrical slap, and both sides were swollen. You're still shouting? Do you need a lesson? I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of your father. Don't be too grateful to me. Haipeng almost went crazy. Pow, pow. Xiaoping slapped him a few more times. His face was swollen like a steam bun. Blood dripped from his face. He could no longer speak. He did not even have the strength to hate Xiaoping. All right, now you can finally understand human language and know what it means to respect others. This is a good start. Seeing that Haipeng could no longer speak, Xiaoping was very satisfied. He felt that his education was very effective. Affect my ass. Octopus Prince Zhang Ming and the other sea demons were cursing in their hearts. Haipeng was beaten to this state by you. Of course, he could not say anything. It would be strange if he could speak. They increasingly felt that this human was simply a demon. He specialized in torturing monsters for fun. Remember, from now on, you just stay in the underwater world obediently. Don't come to land. Even if you come to land, don't provoke humans. Otherwise, I will be very angry. The consequences will be quite serious. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. To tell you the truth, your thoughts are quite shallow. You even want to capture the humans of a few islands to threaten me. I don't even know which idiot taught you such foolish actions. Am I someone who can be threatened by you? Chapter 9:31. Understood. The sea demons that were still conscious all nodded their heads vigorously. They did not dare to provoke this terrifying human at all. Even dozens of Grandmaster monsters were defeated by this human on the spot. Even if they really joined forces, they would not be a match for this terrifying human. Even the most arrogant Haipeng did not dare to say anything. Of course, now that its face was swollen, even if it wanted to say something, it could not say anything. We will immediately release these captured humans. Immediately. I hope that you are magnanimous and do not kill us. Zhang Ming and the other monsters were all trembling, looking at Xiaoping in horror, afraid that Xiaoping would go crazy and kill them all. One had to know that they were all princes of noble status, with a bright future ahead of them. There was hope that they would be promoted to monster kings. If they died now, they would have nothing left. Don't be anxious. Xiaoping waved his hand and looked at the group of demons. I've said it before. If you dare to kill a human, I'll slaughter an entire city of sea demons. Fortunately, we didn't make a stupid mistake and can still mend your ways. Today, I came here just to say hello to you. Now that you know your mistakes, it is good that you know your mistakes and can mend them. In the future, you are still a good monster. He was arrogant, as if an elder was teaching his grandson. Mend your ass. The group of sea demons were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. He said that this human was fat, and he really began to pant. He actually began to talk to them about the principles of life, as if he was an elder lecturing them. Did this despicable human really think of them as his grandchildren? Even their father had never lectured them like this, but they did not dare to contradict this cruel human, for fear that this cruel human would go crazy and get out of hand. That's right, this human brother is right. We did go a little too far before, but we will definitely mend our ways in the future. Thank you, human brother, for forgiving our stupid behavior. We will definitely not make any mistakes in the future. Many monsters nodded and spoke while covering their conscience. In the face of such a tyrannical power, they could only temporarily bow their heads to this human under pressure. Each of them lowered their eyes, as if they had already been tamed and no longer had the hostility from before. It's good that you know how to repent. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. All of you still want to snatch the mermaid princess from my hands. This is simply absurd. What's the difference between your actions and those of tyrants, bandits, and bandits? He rebuked the wickedness. Many of the sea demons looked at this human with disdain. How dare he talk about them? This shameless human is the most evil bandit in the world. Who doesn't know that the Shark Demon King's treasure vault was emptied by you? The main culprit that caused the Shark Demon King to become penniless is you, shameless human. Moreover, he even kidnapped the mermaid princess. If this wasn't a bandit, then what was? How could he be so shameless to blame them when he had done such an evil thing? Xiaoping's face was thicker than the city wall. He didn't care about the eyes of the sea beasts and continued. I'll be honest with you. In the entire endless sea, everyone knows that the mermaid princess and I love each other. Soon, we will be married. After a while, I will be the son-in-law of the mermaid king. I will dominate the endless sea. You still dare to offend me, the son-in-law of the mermaid king. If this isn't stupid, then what is? In the future, with one command, I will mobilize the billions of soldiers of the mermaid kingdom and wipe you out in an instant. Not even a speck of you will be left. Tie the knot. Hearing this, many of the sea demons were stunned. They didn't expect this human to have such a terrifying idea. Not only did he want to kidnap the mermaid princess, but he also wanted to take this opportunity to become the son-in-law of the mermaid king. What an evil idea. What a shameless act. So that was it. They finally understood why this human dared to do such a heinous thing. It turned out that he was ambitious and wanted to steal the mermaid princess. What was done could not be undone. He wanted to force the mermaid king to acknowledge his position. Then this human would take this opportunity to enter the center of power of the mermaid kingdom. He would take control of the mermaid kingdom and occupy a place in the endless sea. One evil plan. If this human really succeeded, then it would be hard to say who the endless sea would listen to in the future. This was not a matter that concerned the lives of humans on a dozen islands, but a matter that concerned countless races in the endless sea. Once this news got out, it would definitely be earth-shattering. For a time, their imaginations ran wild, and they were completely stunned. Lien Haipeng was also dumbfounded, not knowing what to say. All right, I won't waste any more words with you. Xiaoping waved his hand. Anyway, this matter ends here. Go back to your homes. If you dare to step on land and do evil again, I will kill you myself. He was full of murderous intent. After saying that, he turned around and left. With a whoosh, he jumped into the air and was sucked into the moon god's ship in the sky. In the next second, the ship jumped through space and soon disappeared from Orchid Island. At this moment, in a remote and dark place below the island, 2 or 3 sea demon kings appeared. Their eyes were cold as they stared at the place where Xiaoping's ship disappeared. What do we do? Are we not going to do anything? A sea demon king stared at Xiaoping's back with a gloomy expression. They were the bodyguards responsible for protecting these sea demon princes. Their goal was to prevent any accidents from happening to them. We can't do anything. This kid dared to come alone, so he must have something up his sleeves. Also, that ship can kill kings. Didn't you sense it? The weapon system on it has been locked onto us. If we dare to act rashly, we will definitely be attacked. Another demon king said in a low voice. He could feel that the ship was a fatal threat to him. It was because of the existence of that ship that they didn't dare to act rashly. The most annoying thing is that this human is wearing a universal protective suit. Even a high-level king can't kill him. He's like an unkillable hedgehog. That's right. Shadow Goblin King tried to assassinate him once on the battlefield. He used his full strength, but this guy is still alive and kicking. This universal protective suit is too much. It doesn't make sense at all. Even if we can't kill him, there is still the ship eyeing us. If we act rashly, Our demon kings might be fine, but the princes here will all die. This kid knows the severity of the situation. Although he killed some elite guards, he didn't kill the princes with high status. He only suffered heavy injuries and didn't completely fall out with us. Our mission is still to protect the princes. We can't fight this human head-on. I hope this will teach the princes a lesson. In the future, they won't casually come to land. This is an extremely dangerous world. Chapter 9:32. Seeing Xia Ping leave, many sea demons heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily, this human didn't start a massacre. Otherwise, they would probably all die in his hands. Despicable human. At this moment, Sea Dragon Prince Hai Peng roared, "I won't let him off. I definitely won't let him off." It was furious to the extreme. It had never suffered such a great humiliation in its entire life. It was beaten in such a state and humiliated in public. Its face was simply swollen from a slap. If this matter was spread back to the sea dragon race, he would immediately become a laughing stock. In the future, he would probably be pointed at by others. "Prince, lower your voice. If that human didn't go far and came back to hear you, it would be terrible." A sea demon reminded him softly. He looked around carefully, afraid that the evil human would come back. If that happened, they wouldn't be as lucky as before. "Lower your head." Sea Dragon Prince Hai Peng was furious. "Are you King scared out of your wits by that human? That guy just ran away. How could he come back? You're just a coward." He didn't expect that the brave elite sea dragon race soldiers in the boundless sea would actually tell him to lower his voice because they were afraid of a human. The sea dragon race was born with such loud voices. How could he lower his voice? This was clearly making things difficult for him. I'm not afraid of what if. That sea demon felt that it was better to lower their voice. Perhaps it would be safer if the human walked far away and couldn't hear them. Scram! Hai Peng slapped him angrily, sending him flying several meters away. He shouted angrily, "You are afraid of this human, but I, Hai Peng, am not. I will fight to the death with him. First, I will destroy this human on Orchid Island. I will kill them all. I want to see if this human dares to kill me and slaughter my sea dragon race's city." He was so angry that he wanted to fight to the death with Xia Ping. As the prince of a sea dragon race, his identity was very precious. Even compared to the mermaid princess, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage. Now, he was actually humiliated by a small human and almost died. He couldn't swallow this anger. He wanted to kill someone to vent his anger. That's not a good idea. That human is a lunatic. The octopus prince Zhang Ming was a little hesitant. He was a little scared by Xia Ping, and a shadow had formed in his heart. Crazy your sister. Hai Peng flew into a rage. So what if he's a madman? I don't believe that the Sea Dragon clan can't do anything to him. Even if a grandmaster can't kill him, or even a normal king tier can't kill him, my father emperor will definitely be able to kill him. No one can offend me, Hai Peng, and still be alive in the endless sea. Many of the sea demons nodded in agreement. The Sea Dragon King was an invincible king. He was equally as famous as the Mermaid King. He was also a ferocious king of the ocean. If the Sea Dragon King were to make a move, that kind of scene would be quite terrifying. The human would definitely die. Report. Suddenly, a dozen pale-faced guards rushed in from the outside. Like a gust of wind, they quickly ran into the hall and arrived in front of the Siren Princes. "Oh no, First Prince." A Sea Dragon Clan soldier immediately shouted. "Just half an hour ago, someone detonated a nuclear bomb 3 kilometers away from the 3 cities of our Sea Dragon Clan in the underwater world: Dragon Horn City, Dragon Might City, and Dragon Scale City. The explosion destroyed the area within a radius of several kilometers, causing seawater to flow backward and setting off a shocking storm. The 3 underwater cities suffered great losses." What? Hearing this, Hai Peng was stunned, and his face turned pale. He didn't expect such a thing to happen. The 3 underwater cities, Dragon Horn City, Dragon Might City, and Dragon Scale City, were all extremely important residential cities of the Sea Dragon Clan. If anything happened to these 3 cities, the entire Sea Dragon Clan would be in great turmoil. In particular, Many members of the Sea Dragon clan's royal family also lived in these three cities. If these nuclear bombs did not explode outside the cities, but inside the cities, the consequences would be unimaginable. Several cities belonging to the Octopus tribe, such as Octagon City, Red Octagon City, and Black Rock City, have also experienced nuclear explosions. The tremors within a radius of dozens of miles caused an underwater earthquake with a magnitude of 7 or 8. Although there weren't many casualties, it caused huge damage to buildings, and many houses collapsed. The territory of the Electric Eel clan was also destroyed. The same goes for the territory of the Swordfish clan. My God, bad news came from the territory of the Shell clan. One by one, the Sea Demon soldiers reported the news, saying that many important cities of the Sea Demon clan had been ambushed with nuclear bombs and deliberately chose this time to detonate them at the same time, shocking the entire Endless Sea. Xiaoping, it's definitely the B*TCH Xiaoping who did it. A Sea Demon Grandmaster screamed. This is a warning to us. Right now, the nuclear bombs are only placed outside the cities. Next time, the nuclear bombs might be placed in the cities of our clan. If we dare to kill a human, that B*TCH will dare to detonate a nuclear bomb. I told you that this human is a lunatic, absolutely a lunatic, but you don't believe me. His face was pale with fright, and his entire body was trembling. It can't be. This human dares to do this? Does he want to start a war with the many races of the Endless Sea? For a few insignificant humans on a few islands, he wants to destroy the important cities of our clan. What does he want? Once he does such a thing, he definitely won't be able to get away with it. We can't be careless. Others might not dare to do it, but this lunatic Xiaoping will definitely do it. Many sea demons were trembling. If it was someone else who said such words and did such a thing, they would think that the other party did not have the guts to do it and was just bluffing and scaring them. But the person who said such words and did such a thing was the human Xiaoping. This brat did all kinds of evil. He dared to empty the treasury of the Shark Demon King's palace, dared to beat up many descendants of the Demon Kings, and even dared to kidnap the Mermaid Princess. There was nothing that this brat did not dare to do. Those who dared to look down on this human's guts had basically all gone to hell to repent. First Prince. Many sea demons looked at Hai Peng, wanted to know what he was thinking. If he really gave the order to kill the humans on Orchid Island and the other islands, there was no doubt that he would start an all-out war with the humans. Every sea demon city would suffer from this human's crazy revenge. Once they thought of countless nuclear bombs buried in their cities and detonated at the same time, shaking the heavens and earth and killing countless of their kind, they trembled in fear and their faces turned ashen. They were not afraid of death, but were their friends and family not afraid of death? Let them go. With a slap, the Sea Dragon clan's first prince Hai Peng was so scared that he collapsed on the ground. His entire body was trembling, and he did not dare to persist any longer. Xiaoping's threat was blatant, and he did not hide his intentions at all. If he dared to do such a thing, he must have the guts to perish together with his enemies. Obviously, Hai Peng did not have the guts, nor could he make such a crazy decision. Chapter 9:33. On the second day, the sea dragons, octopuses, seashells, electric eels, and other sea demon races immediately retreated from the dozen or so human islands. They didn't kill a single person and didn't even take away a single treasure. They just returned along the way. In an instant, many of the captured humans seemed to have woken up from a dream. If it weren't for the fact that they were still tied up, they would have thought that they were dreaming. Otherwise, how could such an absurd thing happen? What exactly is going on? Why did these ferocious and evil sea demons suddenly retreat without any news at all? Someone was puzzled. In fact, this was also the question on everyone's mind. I know. It must be our ancestor. Our ancestor definitely took action. Otherwise, these sea demons wouldn't have retreated so obediently. They didn't even dare to let out a fart. That's right. If the king didn't show up personally to intimidate these sea demons and let them know the power of our human king, they wouldn't have left so obediently and didn't even dare to take a hair. Our ancestor is really powerful, as expected of a king. Even these ferocious and lawless sea demons were scared witless. Many humans were satisfied and felt honored. With the protection of a king, they felt very safe. But if those sea demons were really afraid of our ancestor, why would they come to us? There shouldn't be any other reason, right? Someone raised his doubt. Everyone was stunned and felt that it made sense. If their ancestor was really that powerful, these sea demons wouldn't have dared to invade their islands so brazenly. Could this matter be related to Xiaoping? Some people immediately thought of Xiaoping. However, someone immediately retorted, impossible. Even if this guy has 3 heads and 6 arms, he can't scare these sea demons. Could he be more terrifying than a king? Many people nodded in agreement. First of all, whether this guy had the ability or not. First of all, he was a bastard who didn't want to save them. Why would he save them? When we go back, we must definitely accuse Xiaoping, this bastard, of not saving us. He would rather sacrifice our lives than hand over the mermaid princess. He even shamelessly asked us to sacrifice our lives and become martyrs. What a despicable act. I will not live under the same sky as that bastard. A disciple of the Wang clan gnashed his teeth. He finally remembered Xiaoping. Because of this bastard, they were almost killed by those sea demons. Even in death, they would never forget this matter. Fortunately, the group of sea demons were perceptive and did not fall for Xiaoping's evil tricks. Otherwise, how could they continue to live in this world? They would have long become food in the stomachs of the sea demons. The patriarch is here. Suddenly, someone shouted. 2 or 3 spaceships appeared in the sky. They quickly flew over and landed on the ground. Following that, more than 10 kings walked out of the flying ship. They were all kings of the major clans and were all old-timers. Patriarch, the group of people immediately went up and shed tears of gratitude. They were just about to say some words of gratitude to the old ancestor. But soon, someone exclaimed, F asterisk CK, why is this be asterisk to CH, Xiaoping here too? His eyes widened, and he immediately discovered that Xiaoping was chatting cheerfully with the other monarchs, as if they were on very good terms. He was so scared that his eyeballs almost popped out. F asterisk CK, this bitch Xiaoping still dares to come? I'm going to kill him right now. A burly man with a very bad temper remembered his old and new grudges, and he wanted to rush up and teach Xiaoping a lesson. But before they could rush up, the Pan family's patriarch, Panda, shouted angrily, What the hell are you doing? You have no respect for your elders. You see Brother Xia and not greet him. What a scandal. If Brother Xia hadn't personally acted this time, you would all be dead. You can say that he is your savior. You should all come forward and thank him. His expression was very serious. What? Everyone was aggrieved, as if a toad had been stuffed into their mouths. Their faces were red, and they could barely speak. It was clearly this bastard who had almost killed them. It was because of this bastard that they had provoked so many sea demons. They were just small fish and shrimp in the pond. No matter how they looked at it, this Xiaoping was the main culprit and should be criticized. But now he had actually become their savior, and they still had to thank him. If this was a joke, then this joke had gone too far. Hey, you're too polite. Brother Pan, there's no need to be so polite. We're all brothers of the human race, so there's no need to be so polite. Saving them was just a small effort, so there's no need to thank him or give him any precious gifts. You're too polite. Xiaoping waved his hand modestly. Give my ass. The group of people gritted their teeth. Their old ancestor did not mention anything about giving gifts at all, but this guy was extremely thick-skinned and shamelessly brought up the matter of giving gifts. It was clear that he was afraid that others would not give gifts, so he deliberately pointed out this matter. Moreover, what did this bastard call their patriarch? Brother Pan? Panda, your uncle. Is that something you can call him? It should be known that Panda was the patriarch of the Pan family, and his seniority was extremely high. Basically, everyone present was his grandson or granddaughter, but now this kid was calling their patriarch a brother, and their status was equal. In this way, weren't they all the grandsons of this shameless Xiaoping? The seniority was all messed up. How could someone take advantage of others like this? They all glared at Xiaoping fiercely. No, this isn't polite at all. Panda waved his hand repeatedly. If it weren't for Brother Xia, these little bastards would have died long ago. How could they still be so lively and full of energy? Thanks are only part of the reason. Gifts are also necessary. My Pan family will definitely prepare a big gift for Brother Xia later. His tone was very sincere. Patriarch, the descendants of the Pan family all felt very aggrieved. It was clearly this bastard's fault. He could count himself lucky not to ask for compensation, but now he had to give him a gift. How could such a thing happen in this world? That's right, Brother Xia. Money is just a worldly possession. As long as it can save so many of our descendants, money doesn't matter. This time, it was all thanks to Brother Xia. If it weren't for Brother Xia solving this problem perfectly, we wouldn't know what to do. The dozen or so kings all said to Xia Ping. Even the patriarch of the Wang family, Wang Kong, who had the greatest opinion of Xia Ping, had nothing to say. This was because Xia Ping's performance in this matter was too shocking. He easily disintegrated the allied army of sea demons and prevented the outbreak of war. At the same time, he made these sea demons retreat willingly. This performance was almost perfect, coupled with his talent. Advancing to the king realm was an ironclad matter. If there was no need, who would be willing to become enemies with such a monstrous genius? It was better to take advantage of this opportunity to quickly befriend this genius. There would be many benefits in the future. Chapter 934. The news of the retreat of the sea demon clans and the safe release of the humans on the islands had spread throughout the Cloud Realm. Almost everyone knew about it. No way. Those savage sea demons retreated just like that. They didn't ask for anything. From all the information, it seems so. They didn't ask for anything. Are you kidding me? Isn't this nonsense? Right? Didn't they ask Xia Ping to release the mermaid princess? Their words were very savage and seemed like they wouldn't stop until one side was dead. Why don't they ask for her release now? I heard that Xia Ping personally forced the sea demons to retreat and forced them to sign a humiliating agreement. In the end, they gave up on rescuing the mermaid princess. Just what method did Xia Ping use? Force the sea demons to retreat? Who doesn't know how savage these sea demons are? They aren't even afraid of kings. Are they afraid of a young man like Xia Ping? No matter how I think about it, it doesn't make sense. There are too many inside stories. Many humans were in an uproar when they heard the news. Previously, the captives had been captured by the sea demons. This matter had been blown out of proportion. Many people thought that the captives would most likely die in the hands of the sea demons. But now they had left unscathed. This was a bit anticlimactic. Even if they weren't involved, they could sense something fishy was going on. Maybe there was some kind of deal. At this time, the captives from Orchid Island had also returned to their homes. They thought they could live in peace. Who knew that trouble had just begun? News reporters from all over the world, as well as people who were extremely curious about this matter, actually boarded spaceships and headed to the islands to find out what was going on. Immediately, many of the island's residents were blocked and surrounded by the reporters. Friend, may I ask how you felt when you were captured by the sea demons? A reporter immediately caught a member of the Wang family and asked, "What feeling?" Was there need to ask? It was worse than death. All kinds of memories from before their deaths flashed before their eyes. Some people were so scared that they peed themselves or fainted on the ground. There were all kinds of situations. Many members of the Wang family were speechless and didn't know how to answer. This kind of feeling was too humiliating. They were too ashamed to speak. It was a bit embarrassing for the king families. By the way, I heard that when you were captured, you were so scared that you wet your pants and begged the sirens for mercy. Is that true? A gossip reporter asked sinisterly. That's not true. Where did you hear that from? The group of Wang family descendants flatly denied it. They wanted nothing more than to bite this gossipy reporter to death. If he really admitted it, wouldn't he be embarrassing himself in front of the entire nation? We got the information from an insider. As for who it is, it's not convenient for us to tell you. The gossip reporter's eyes flickered, as if he didn't want to reveal the identity of this insider. Bullsh *T internal personnel. Was it Xia Ping, that bitch, who said it? The faces of the Wang family juniors all turned green. Xia Ping's face instinctively appeared in their minds. and they all unanimously felt that it was this bastard who told the news to these reporters. Otherwise, how could he say it so clearly and in such detail? Moreover, he specifically pointed out the ugly side of them, causing them a serious blow both physically and mentally. However, thinking about it carefully, their ancestor was currently in the honeymoon period with this bastard Xiaoping. No matter how shameless that bastard was, he probably wouldn't expose them at this time. Although they didn't know if this so-called insider was fabricated by this gossip reporter, it didn't stop them from denying it. They directly said, "Although I don't know where you got this useless information from, we were ultimately heroes facing those evil and cruel sirens until the very last moment. You can know from the result. Those sirens fled with their tails between their legs, and we were released safely. As for the process, you can imagine it yourself. They constantly maintained their righteous side and would never admit that they had begged the sirens for mercy. My friend, how did you manage to escape and come back?" "That's right. So many ferocious sirens came to kidnap you, but now they retreated with their tails between their legs. They didn't do anything. What's the inside story? Did you make some kind of secret deal with the sea demons? That's why the sea demons retreated? Did you sign some kind of treaty that betrayed your country for glory?" Many reporters bombarded them with questions like a machine gun, overwhelming them. No comment. No comment on this matter. The group of Wang family descendants kept their mouths shut. They couldn't say a single word about the inside story. Otherwise, they would lose all the face of their king families. At this moment, in the villa on the giant island, Mermaid Princess Yuchichi was also watching the television in the living room. The television was showing the scene of the reporter interviewing the people on the island. She had also heard the news of the sirens retreating. The originally majestic army of sirens was now all bark and no bite. They retreated one by one, and no one cared about her, who was in the center of the storm. Damn it, what did this human do? Why did they all run away? Yuchichi gritted her teeth, feeling extremely indignant. If even this couldn't save her, did her father have to personally make a move? If even her father couldn't save her, then she would have to work like a slave for this human for the rest of her life. She suddenly felt that her future was dark. The most unlucky thing in her life was probably meeting this despicable, shameless human in the Shark Demon King's palace. Suji and Jiang Yaru also saw this news. They were speechless and in awe. Originally, they thought that Xiaoping would definitely be in trouble this time. They didn't expect that this matter would end so angrily. Although they didn't know what happened, they could imagine that Xiaoping must have played a big role in it. Otherwise, how could these ferocious sirens retreat just like that? At this time, Xiaoping didn't care about anything else. He came to the huge warehouse of the villa. The materials he bought from the giant company for the spaceship were all moved here. They almost filled up the warehouse. From afar, it looked like a small mountain. And this was only a part of it. There were still many more materials that would be moved here. Chapter 9:35. Don't worry, it's enough. Corinne's virtual projection jumped out and landed on Xiaoping's shoulder. This is just the initial modification material for the spaceship. It's already enough to meet the requirements. By the way, I also modified the internal AI program of the batch of nano-engineered robots I asked you to buy. The efficiency has been increased by about 10,000 times, and they can have simple human intelligence. I've inputted the engineering drawings of the spaceship into their chips. Then these nano-engineered robots will automatically modify the spaceship, transport materials, and do assembly line work. Even if I'm not here, they will work diligently like worker ants. 3 months, it should be done in about 3 months. It held up 3 fingers. At this moment, the moon god was lying quietly in the warehouse. Countless nanoscale engineering robots were crawling around it. They were like ants, densely packed together. Some were disassembling and transporting materials. Some were welding and adjusting the electric circuit. Some were decorating the spaceship's interior. Although it looked very messy, in fact, they were very organized, completely following the design drawings. This was already precise to the nano level. This was simply a futuristic project. It was extremely sci-fi. Amazing. Xiaoping was full of admiration. As expected of a brain that had surpassed the cloud realm by many years, Just the technology used to modify these nano-engineered robots was already far beyond the reach of humans. Instilling some engineering knowledge into these nano-engineered robots was equivalent to creating a human engineer in an instant. And these nanorobots numbered in the tens of thousands, which was equivalent to having tens of thousands of elite human engineers. This saved a lot of manpower and material resources. Next, I didn't need to do anything. It was enough for these nano-engineered robots to work. Moreover, these robots could work 24 hours a day as long as they had energy. They didn't need to rest at all. Their efficiency had increased by who knew how many times. If such intelligent nano-engineered robots were taken out, it would probably revolutionize the entire human society. Science and technology would undergo earth-shaking changes. Of course, don't you know who I am? This is as easy as flipping my hand. Corin was very proud with his hands on his hips. Finally, there was something he could do in front of this demon. Previously, he was so shocked by this demon that he even doubted his cat life. With this spaceship, although we can't travel through a galaxy, we can travel through the nearby planets. We can go to the planets near the Cloud Realm to take a look. This will greatly broaden our horizons. Xiaoping clenched his fists. Going to other planets and exploring unknown environments was simply one of the ultimate dreams of mankind. Moreover, the universe was extremely vast and boundless. There were many peculiar planets, and every single one of them had innumerable treasures. They were like unexplored treasures waiting for Xiaoping to explore. If he was able to obtain even more treasures, then his chances of breaking through into the King Realm would be even greater. DD. At this time, the system's voice also came out. Congratulations to the host. You have angered a large number of Siren Grandmasters. This time, you have gained a total of 50 million hatred points. I hope the host will continue to work hard. 50 million hate points? Xiaoping curled his lips. He didn't think it was too little. After all, he had only offended some Grandmasters this time. There was a limit to the amount of hatred he could get. It was still a little far from the King Realm. But even so, coupled with the previous hatred value, he had a total of 630 million hatred value. After a period of time, he estimated that he would have 1 billion hatred value. At that time, he would be able to get another big gift bag from the system, but he didn't know what the next big gift bag would be. This made Xiaoping very much look forward to it. Whoosh! As soon as the system's voice ended, the communicator on his body immediately rang. With a snap, Xiaoping turned on his communicator, and a virtual projection appeared in front of him. Immediately, the figure that appeared in front of him was the King Zhao Zhong, the big shot of the giant company. Xiaoping. The King Zhao Zhong looked at Xiaoping with a kind face, like an old man looking at his grandson, very kind. Elder Zhao. Xiaoping spoke very respectfully. He knew that this old man was very good to him and was a senior worthy of respect. He was such a person. If people respected him, he would respect them tenfold. This time, I have a big matter to look for you. Zhao Zhong smiled slightly. A big matter? Xiaoping was stunned. He didn't ask and just looked at Zhao Zhong. Zhao Zhong didn't seem to have any intention of letting Xiaoping answer, nor did he intend to keep him in suspense. He said directly, I'll just say it directly. The leader of the giant company has come to see you. What? Hearing this, Xiaoping was shocked and looked at Zhao Zhong in shock. Although Zhao Zhong's tone was very calm, this sentence was earth-shattering. The leader of the giant company, Gu Shi, had come. What kind of existence was that? The other party was an old monster who had survived from the great era of mankind until today. He had long been promoted to the realm of the invincible king. He was a legend who had lived for more than 1,000 years and had experienced several wars of life and death for mankind. If it weren't for the existence of this old man, it was unknown how many human beings would have died. In the textbooks of Yan Huang's Star, in many historical books, and even on TV, the figure of this invincible king had appeared. This was a big shot whose influence affected all aspects of human society. It could be said that if such a person sneezed, the entire Cloud Realm would catch a cold for 3 days. Not to mention that the other party was the leader of the giant company, a super big shot who controlled one of the 3 superpowers of the human world. Generally speaking, ordinary people were not qualified to see him at all. Even grandmasters were not qualified. Only the king could barely meet him, and even if they wanted to meet, it would depend on the other party's mood. What the hell is going on? Since he was about to meet such a big shot, even if Xiaoping didn't care, he had to ask what was going on. After all, such a big shot would not meet him for no reason. Anyone would feel a little excited to meet a legend from the textbooks. This is actually a gathering. The three giants of the three major human organizations will meet, Zhao Zhong said in a deep voice. At that time, the leader of the Aurora Corporation, Sun Yongdao, and the leader of the Life Corporation, Lu Wuming, will also attend. Many elite human grandmasters will also appear. His eyes flickered, indicating that this matter was extremely important. Three giants. Xiaoping was speechless. These three super organizations covered all aspects of human society, controlling all aspects of human politics, economy, and military. And the meeting of these three super organizations was no less than the meeting of the leaders of the three super countries on Earth in his previous life. This could affect the lifeline of the entire planet. Remember, at such a gathering, don't cause trouble. You must keep a low profile, Zhao Zhong warned. Xiaoping patted his chest. Don't worry. Don't you know who I am? I'm a most low-key person. Chapter 9:36. Endless Sea, Flaming Huang Island. This was the largest island in human territory, more than 10 times the size of Giant Island. It was also the capital of the human race in the Cloud Realm, a true super city with 100 million people living there. It could be said that this island was simply a war fortress. Even if countless demon kings attacked together for 10 days and 10 nights, they would not be able to break through. It was equivalent to the crystallization of human technology. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this time, the already busy airport of Flaming Huang Island welcomed spaceships from all over the Cloud Realm. The spaceships landed one after another. Countless soldiers were on standby, blocking all means of transportation. Even if a fly wanted to pass through it, it would be an impossible thing. Many passengers also noticed this situation. What's going on? The security at the airport seems to be especially tight today. I heard that a big shot is coming. The entire Flaming Huang Island is on high alert. It can't be. What kind of big shot is coming? I'm not sure. Maybe it's a gathering of the higher-ups. Otherwise, there wouldn't be such a lineup. Many passengers saw the soldiers all around, all armed with real guns. The security was extremely strict. They checked every suspicious person passing by. If there was anything wrong, they would be caught and interrogated. Although the security was usually strict, it was definitely not as crazy as today. Look, the people on the spaceships are coming down. Some people noticed that many spaceships had landed in the distance. It seemed that some soldiers were coming forward to welcome them. Many people also walked out of the spaceships. Oh my God, all of them are masters. What's going on? Someone cried out in surprise. Even in the Cloud Realm, a Grandmaster was considered an incredible figure. They could be regarded as generals and the strongest people below the King Realm. It was not an undeserved reputation. Basically, this was the peak that ordinary people could reach. Not only masters, but even the king-level masters have appeared. And so many of them. I've seen them on TV before. Some people also recognize the identity of some of the kings. Only a small number of human kings, due to various reasons, would not be known. Most of the human kings were basically known. After all, they were the heroes of the human race. Therefore, many people quickly recognized the identity of some of the human kings. Amazing. Masters have gathered. Kings have appeared. Something big is going to happen. I haven't encountered such a situation in a long time. At least, not in the past 10 years. Why are so many kings gathered? It must be a top-secret matter. How can we ordinary people know about it? Everyone discussed and looked at these grandmasters and kings with curiosity. However, there were soldiers guarding the area, so no one dared to go forward. All of them watched curiously from afar. Look, isn't that the champion of the genius battle, Xiaoping? Some people also saw Xiaoping in the team. Oh my God, it really is that troublemaker. I didn't expect to see him alive today. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Hurry up and take a picture. I knew I was lucky today. He is going to be one of the major characters in the future. He has already reached the Grandmaster realm at such a young age. In the future, he might even become an invincible king. He has already been listed as one of the important people that the giant company is nurturing. The group of people also quickly noticed Xiaoping's existence because Xiaoping was really too famous and high profile. Basically, all the major events that happened in the past year were related to this guy. On the internet, Xiaoping's name was a hot topic, and he was even more famous than many human kings. Although he hadn't reached the level where everyone knew him, he had become a superstar. People would point at him whenever he went out. If it weren't for Xiaoping's notoriety, people might have asked for his autograph and many female fans. What? Hearing this, not only many tourists were in a commotion, but even some grandmasters and kings in the team couldn't help but turn their heads to look. Because this year, Xiaoping had been in the limelight too much and had done a lot of big things. Not to mention the fact that he had auctioned the Demon King's descendant. Just the fact that he had kidnapped the mermaid princess and angered the sea monsters. The allied forces had come to kill him, but in the end, he was still safe and sound. This was enough to make countless grandmasters and kings look at him and attract a lot of attention. Just causing trouble was not a big deal. Everyone could do it. The problem was that after causing trouble, nothing happened to him, and he even got great benefits. This was not something that everyone could do. TSK, is this the champion of the genius battle, Xiaoping? He's really powerful. His heavenly court is full, and his gang chi is full. He must have reached the sixth sky of the supreme power realm. My God, this kid is only 19 years old. He's so abnormal. When we were his age, we were probably in the martial mena realm, but he is already a grandmaster and can compete with the older generation. He's really a monster. I can't compare with him. But is he also coming to this meeting? Isn't it a little too early? Indeed, even if he is now in the sixth sky of the supreme power realm, he is only 19 years old. He's too young. I guess some kings want to train him, so they let him come out to see the world. He might not want to do anything. The eyes of many masters and kings twinkled as they looked at Xiaoping with complicated expressions. Some people sighed with emotion. Compared with this kid, they had been living like dogs all these years. The gap was too big. People really couldn't be compared with each other. It was really annoying. However, in the distance, there was also a group of people standing next to them, looking at Xiaoping and the others with a faint smile. A man in black crossed his arms and said lightly, "Wu Quan, this kid is really popular. He has been in the limelight this year, and is even called the future invincible king. What do you think?" The aura on his body was very powerful. It seemed that there was a faint dark aura around him, as if it had formed a unique aura. Once someone approached him, they would immediately feel very uncomfortable and disgusted. This man's cultivation had reached the peak of the ninth sky of the supreme power realm, only one step away from the king realm. Humph, he's just playing to the gallery. How could it be so easy to become an invincible king? The young man named Wu Quan sneered and said, "Not to mention the invincible king. Even the king realm has stopped countless geniuses. Now, this kid is amazing, but who knows if he will be stuck at the peak of the supreme power realm for many years." In the past, we were also promoted to the ninth sky of the supreme power realm. We thought that we could break through soon, but in the blink of an eye, 5 or 6 years have passed, and we still haven't been able to break through. I remember a few years ago, we were also called monsters. Lu Shan, you think too highly of him. Chapter 9:37. Indeed, Lu Shan also nodded. The king realm is as difficult as ascending to heaven. If it wasn't difficult, countless geniuses wouldn't have been trapped for so many years, and there are so few king realm masters in the entire cloud realm. If we were to say who are the true geniuses among our peers, the undoubted monstrous geniuses, it would probably be Su Mei and Xiu Xue. They have easily broken through the king realm and have already surpassed us. I thought I could surpass them this time, but I didn't expect to fail. He laughed at himself. Wu Quan had nothing to say. These two women were indeed amazing geniuses of their generation. They seemed to have no bottlenecks and easily broke through to the king realm. They had been stuck at the peak of the Grandmaster realm for so many years, so they all knew how difficult it was to break through to the King realm. The more difficult it was, the more amazing these two stunning women were. But I have to say that this kid is amazing. The black-clothed man, Lu Shan, smiled slightly. Let's not talk about his martial arts cultivation, just his luck alone is not something we can compare with. Our generation's two goddesses, Su Mei and Xiaoxue, were both taken by this kid, and they are even willing to share a husband. I really envy others. Shut up. Hearing this, a man in gray next to Lu Shan stared at him and said coldly, "These are just rumors circulating on the internet. There is no evidence. Who can be sure that this is true? How can you believe such a baseless rumor?" LV Shan, you're getting worse and worse. His eyes were bloodshot, and he seemed to be very angry. Ren Haodong, I know you like Xiaoxue, but you can't ignore the facts. Lu Shan didn't care at all and still had a smile on his face. As the saying goes, there is no smoke without fire. How do you know that this is not true? If it is false, why didn't Xiaoxue come out to refute it and let these rumors spread? I think that even if it is somewhat false, it is also somewhat true. Sometimes, when it comes to rumors, they'll become true as time goes on. He didn't care about the anger of the man in gray, Ren Haodong, and said these words to himself. Lu Shan, if you want to provoke me, I can tell you that you have succeeded. Do you want to fight with me? I, Ren Haodong, will accompany you to the end. Ren Haodong clenched her fists. Lu Shan waved his hand. Don't cause trouble in front of the king, or we'll have to bear the consequences. Since you don't want to hear it, then I won't say it. Why get angry? But then again, there are a lot of people in our generation who like the two goddesses, Xiaoxue and Su Mei. This kid actually picked the two flowers of the plateau and brought them home. I don't know how much hatred he will cause. He rubbed his chin with a cold expression on his face. Oomph. Ren Haodong snorted coldly. He didn't say anything, but his face darkened. His gaze fell on Xia Ping, who was walking over from afar. No one knew what he was thinking. Wu Quan was silent as he looked at Xia Ping in the distance. For a moment, the group fell into silence. At this moment, Xia Ping followed the kings of the giant company and exited the flying shuttle. When he arrived at the airport, he instantly heard the commotion in the surroundings, and countless gazes were directed at him. It seemed that even on Flaming Huang Island, he was very famous. Many people knew who he was. Elder Zhao, Xia Ping said proudly. I didn't think that I would be recognized even though I'm so low-key. It seems that I'm actually a man who can't keep a low profile. No matter where I go, I'm like a firefly in the dark. I'm so bright and eye-catching. I'm like a red in a green forest. He felt that being a celebrity was very tiring. There were people everywhere discussing, taking photos, shaking hands, and signing autographs. There might even be a bunch of beautiful female fans waiting for him to work day and night and do all kinds of unspoken rules. Tonight's nightlife might be very rich. Zhao Zhong was speechless. He felt that Xia Ping's skin was so thick that even an old man like him, who was hundreds of years old, couldn't take it. The other kings and grandmasters of the giant company all looked at Xia Ping with disdain. If this guy did less immoral things, it was guaranteed that he wouldn't be recognized. Moreover, there were no female fans around at all. This B** starred still wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to do unspoken rules and F***CK fun for free. He was simply daydreaming. All right, stop talking nonsense. Let's hurry up and go to the Flaming Huang base. The leader is waiting for us. Zhao Zhong didn't want to hear this guy brag and directly ordered them to leave. Whoosh. The group of people left the airport. There were already a few hover cars waiting for them, picking up the grandmasters and kings. An hour later, Xia Ping's group arrived at the largest base of Flaming Huang Island, the Flaming Huang base. It wasn't just Xia Ping's group. This time, many kings and grandmasters who had arrived at Flaming Huang Island were also heading to the Flaming Huang base. The group of people headed there in a grandiose manner. You guys are here. Just as Xia Ping and the others arrived at an empty space in the Flaming Huang base, they immediately heard a gentle voice. However, this voice contained a terrifying spiritual wave. It was transmitted directly to everyone's mind. Even if they covered their ears, they couldn't block it out. Everyone looked over and saw three figures standing in the middle of the empty space in the base. One was a middle-aged man who was 8 meters tall, wearing black trousers and a black jacket. His entire body was pitch black. At first glance, it wasn't a person, but a black shadow. He stood on the ground, and the entire sky seemed to distort. The sun in the sky and endless sunlight were immediately blocked, as if the entire world had turned into darkness. This middle-aged man was the center of this world of darkness, devouring the endless light. The second figure was a handsome man. He looked incomparably elegant, as if he was a mythical character from the fairy race. He stood on the ground and seemed to emit white light automatically. He was like a sun standing on the ground, filling the surroundings with dazzling light. The people around him couldn't open their eyes, and they couldn't see his appearance clearly. If this middle-aged man was the god of darkness, then this handsome man was the god of light. The third figure was an old man wearing green clothes. His feet stood on the ground like the roots of an old tree, deeply rooted in the ground, absorbing the endless life force of the earth. He didn't seem like a human, but a tree of life standing on the ground. He had a majestic life force, and he emitted an ancient, vast aura that was incomparably vicissitude. Facing these three figures, no one present could muster up the will to resist. It seemed that as long as they willed it, they could instantly end their lives. Ordinary kings were no exception. Everyone had the same thought. These were invincible kings. Chapter 9:38. Invincible King. Divine Realm. At this moment, Xiaoping truly felt how terrifying this level was. When dealing with a Guru Realm Cultivator, he could probably kill him with a single thought. There were 3 levels to King Realm: Purple Mansion, Fulfillment, and Divine Realm. The difference between each level was like heaven and earth, especially the Divine Realm, which was extremely different from the Fulfillment Realm. Even in the boundless universe, the Divine Realm was considered an expert with combat strength. In a remote and desolate place like the Cloud Realm, he would be an invincible existence, and no one would be able to contend against him. Not bad at all. The middle-aged man in black nodded. The talents of this generation are quite good. There are still some good seedlings. I hope everyone will work hard. You should know that the King Realm is only the beginning, not the end. He glanced at everyone around. Everyone present felt a mountain-like pressure crushing down on them. They almost couldn't breathe. This was the pressure of an invincible king. Ordinary people couldn't resist it at all. All right, old man. The handsome man smiled like a spring breeze. Don't bully the juniors here. That's enough. Oh, we forgot to introduce ourselves. I'm Sun Yongdao. This old man in black is Old 70, and this old man in green is Lu Wuming. He pointed at the 2 people next to him. What? Everyone was shocked. Lu Wuming, Sun Yongdao. These 3 names were not just heard of, they were like thunder piercing their ears, the kind that everyone knew of. They were the leaders of Life Corporation, Giant Corporation, and Aurora Corporation, the 3 super organizations that ruled this world. They were the true leaders. Normally, they would be cultivating in seclusion to increase their cultivation. They would not come out easily. Even some kings hadn't seen the 3 leaders in person. They didn't expect to see them here today. I think you all find it strange, too. Why have you been summoned here at this time? Lu Wuming stood with his hands behind his back and looked at everyone. The reason is simple. It's because the Demon King path has opened. Many geniuses have entered this trial. Once they pass this trial, they will definitely become Demon Kings. This is no small matter. He said that the path of the Monster King was a training ground passed down from ancient times in the Thousand Monster Mountain. There were endless mysteries inside, and it contained the secret of becoming a Monster King. Once the training was successful, one would definitely become a Monster King. If these demons were to pass the trial and become Demon Kings, they would definitely pose a great threat to humanity. The eyes of many martial artists flickered. They were extremely shocked. They did not think that the Wanyao Mountain would have such a secret place. Some people that had been stuck at the peak of the Grandmaster realm for a very long time were extremely tempted. If they were able to enter such a training ground, then they might be able to seize this opportunity to advance into the king realm. Lu Wuming also saw the Grandmaster's desire and smiled. I believe some of you have also received the news. This time, we will also find a way to enter the Fiend race's trial grounds and get a share of the spoils. This is the reason why I've gathered all of you here. Lu Wuming's words wouldn't have been much before, but Lu Wuming's words had truly shocked and excited many human Grandmasters. Immediately, someone could not help but ask, "Leader, is this true or not?" Lu Wuming nodded. "Of course it's true. We are not joking." He indicated that although the entrance to the path of the Fiend race's secret trial grounds was in the Wanyao Mountain, the entrance to the secret trial grounds was not only in the Wanyao Mountain. After all, the Fiend race was a race that dominated the entire Cloud Realm. Their ruins could be found in every corner of the Cloud Realm. At the same time, the entrances to the path of the Fiend race were scattered all over the Cloud Realm. One of them was in the human territory and had always been well protected by the army. It was classified as a top secret, and not many people knew about it. Before the path of the Fiend race opened, this entrance was useless. However, now that the main entrance to the path of the Fiend race had opened, they could also take this opportunity to enter through this remote entrance and get a share of the spoils of the Fiend race. Although we can enter the path of the Fiend race's secret trial grounds, let me tell you first that this secret trial grounds is extremely dangerous. It can be said that there is only a slim chance of survival, Lu Wuming said solemnly. There is no exit on this path. According to the Fiend race's ancient records, if you are unable to advance to the Fiend King realm in this secret trial grounds, then you will die here and never be able to come out. In other words, if you don't become a Fiend King, you will die. He looked around and pointed out the seriousness of this matter. A slim chance of survival? This is indeed a dangerous secret trial grounds. If it wasn't for this kind of secret ground, you probably wouldn't be able to become a Fiend King. Don't worry, Chief. We have experienced all kinds of dangers. This is nothing. In order to advance to the Fiend King realm, we are already prepared to die. Many Grandmasters clench their fists. Some of them have been stuck at this bottleneck for decades, or even centuries. This period of time was simply too long. It was almost the lifetime of an ordinary human. If this continued, they would not be able to advance to the Fiend King realm and would be stuck at this bottleneck for the rest of their lives. To them, who were determined to reach the peak of martial arts, this was simply torture. Now that they had a chance to escape this torture, they would not hesitate to sacrifice their lives. The path of the Fiend race? Xiaoping was extremely tempted as well. Perhaps he would have to spend a very long time to advance into the King realm if he followed the prescribed order. However, he might be able to greatly shorten the time he had to cultivate and allow him to break through if he entered this secret realm. As for the dangers in the trial grounds, he did not care about them at all. No matter how dangerous it was, many monsters had succeeded and advanced to the Fiend King realm. This meant that it was not a slim chance of survival, and there was still a high chance of success. He had many trump cards to save his life. If even he could not succeed, Xiaoping could not imagine who else could pass this trial. He had to participate in this trial as well. All right, since that's the case, you can set off tomorrow. Lu Wuming was very satisfied. Wait, Chief. Suddenly, someone stood out and said to Lu Wuming, Do you have any questions? Lu Wuming looked at this person. Chief, my name is Ren Haodong. Ren Haodong introduced himself and then said, All the Grandmasters are seniors, and all of them have reached the peak of the Grandmaster realm. Of course, I have no objections to them participating in this trial. But there was a rat poop mixed in with this group of elites, and it almost spoiled the pot of soup. I'm not very satisfied with this matter. Chapter 9:39. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, many people's eyes focused on Xiaoping. Obviously, they all knew that Ren Haodong was targeting Xiaoping. Why aren't you satisfied? Lu Wuming asked. Ren Haodong said in a deep voice, Leader, with all due respect, the number of people participating in this trial must be carefully selected and controlled. It's impossible to enter without restrictions. That's right. Lu Wuming nodded. In this way, many outstanding Grandmasters will fail to be selected and will not be able to get this opportunity. Ren Haodong said coldly, If the Grandmasters who enter this secret land trial are excellent enough and above everyone else, then those who fail will naturally have nothing to say. However, if the people who go in for the trial are of average strength, they will only be a burden and will die. Will the Grandmasters who fail to be selected be satisfied? Will they be satisfied? If we had known that the people who enter would die, it would have been better to leave this place for more outstanding people. This is my idea. I hope the leader can consider it. Everyone's faces were very strange. They knew that Runhaudon was targeting Xiaoping. She almost pointed at Xiaoping's nose and said that this kid was weak and not qualified to participate in this trial. Although Xiaoping's aptitude was indeed amazing, he was still at the 6th level of Supreme Power Realm. Compared with many Grandmaster P cultivators, there was still a certain gap. If this young man was given a little more time, he might be able to catch up quickly. The problem was that the trial was about to begin. There was no time for that. Zhao Zhong and the others looked very gloomy. They all felt that Runhaudon was a little disrespectful. If he had any opinions, he could have put them forward in private, which would be good for everyone. However, this kid just had to put it forward at this time in front of the Invincible King. This was clearly a slap in Xiaoping's face. He wanted to use the power of the Invincible King to eliminate this competitor. He wanted to kill with a borrowed knife. If you have anything to say, just say it. Don't hesitate here like a girl. Xiaoping said lazily. You mean that my strength is a hindrance and I'm not qualified to enter this trial at all, right? He looked at Runhaudon indifferently. At least you have some self-awareness. That's a pretty good point. Runhaudon sneered. Boom, in the blink of an eye, Xiaoping took a step forward. Like a rock, he soared through the air, and with lightning speed, he crossed the distance of several hundred meters to arrive in front of Runhaudon. Immediately, he punched, shook, and exploded. What? Runhaudon was shocked. He didn't expect this brat to be so arrogant. In front of so many kings, and even invincible kings, he dared to attack him and launch a sneak attack. Moreover, this kid's speed was simply too fast. The speed of his punches was like lightning, so fast that the speed of his nerves could not even react. He only had time to raise his hands and circulate the stellar energy in his body to block Xiaoping's punch. Dong! The punch landed squarely on Runhaudon's arms. Like a raging bull beating a drum, a booming sound rang out. The air exploded and shattered inch by inch. The power poured down like a flood, unstoppable. He stood on the ground and tried to resist it, but he couldn't bear this kind of huge force. His whole body kept falling back. Just like that, he was forced back dozens of meters. His feet left 2 deep grooves in the ground. The tyrannical force shook his arms until they were numb, and his whole body was trembling. The surrounding Supreme Masters all dodged to avoid the aftermath of the power. They immediately made an open space. The Supreme Masters glanced at Gu Shilai, Sun Yongdao, and Lu Wuming. It seemed that the 3 invincible kings had no intention of making a move. They didn't even ask the 2 of them to stop. They just watched with interest. These Supreme Masters also couldn't figure out the intention of the invincible kings, so they all remained silent and waited to see what would happen. Runhaudon was shocked and angry. He glared at Xiaoping. He felt that he was about to vomit blood after taking this blow. His lungs seemed to have been seriously injured. Obviously, this guy's cultivation was only at the 6th level of the Supreme Power Realm, but his power was comparable to the peak of the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm. There was even a terrible spiral force that penetrated his lungs and produced extreme destructive power. Even though he ran the protective Gang Qi on his body, he couldn't resist it at all. Dong! Xiaoping didn't even look at it. He didn't even pay attention to Runhaudon's words. He directly kicked at him. It was like a wild elephant's attack. The elephant raised its hoof, which contained a power several times more terrifying than before. Immediately, there was a shrill sound of something breaking through the air, which frightened countless Supreme Masters. Oh no! Runhaudon's face was pale. Just a punch had made him retreat dozens of meters. His hands were numb and his lungs were injured. Now he was kicked by his opponent. It was terrible. The problem was that the brat was too close to him. His flying kick was like a bolt of lightning, leaving only an afterimage of the kick in the air. He couldn't resist such a fast speed and such a short distance. The next second, the foot accurately kicked on his chest. The tip of the foot contained the strong force of Gang Chi, the spiral force, and the terrible destructive power. Ren Howdon let out a shrill scream. This time, he could no longer resist. His protective Gang Chi was broken in an instant, and his whole body flew backward for hundreds of meters. With a bang, he was sent flying into the wall of the base, forcibly smashing out a human-shaped hole. Rocks flowed down from these marks. With a puff, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale. Keep shouting. Try shouting. Xia Ping condescendingly looked down at Ren Howdon. You dare to be arrogant in front of me with just this bit of strength? You even said that I'm weak, that I'm just a burden. How dare you say that? Although he didn't know why Ren Howdon suddenly targeted him, he didn't mind trampling such a bird to death to warn others. Otherwise, if idiots like him kept jumping out, he was afraid that it would cause him a lot of trouble. In front of so many Supreme Masters, and even invincible Supreme Masters, Ren Howdon was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were red, and he wanted to eat Xia Ping. You what? Are you very dissatisfied? Do you want to fight again? Now I can let you use both my hands and feet. Xia Ping sneered, not giving this guy any face at all. Chapter 940. Seeing Xia Ping's appearance, Zhao Zhong had a headache. He had asked this kid to keep a low profile in front of the invincible king. Now, they had just met, and he had already started a fight. He even beat up a Supreme Master. Previously, this guy had said that he would keep a low profile. What the F***CK? No matter how he looked at it, he did not look like he was keeping a low profile. Was there no such thing as keeping a low profile in his life? Zhao Zhong wanted to drag this bastard back. He did not know what the leader would think of such a rude behavior. If the leader was angry, it would be no small matter. He felt a strong sense of uneasiness. Staying with Xia Ping, a bomb that could explode at any time, was too insecure. This kid is very strong. Many Supreme Masters stared at Xia Ping. This young man's reputation was like the shadow of a tree. Everyone present had more or less heard about this young man, but they had only heard about him. They had never seen his true abilities. In this world, there were many people who did not live up to their reputation. They thought that this young man was one of them. However, when they saw Xia Ping beat Ren Howdon, who was at the peak of the Supreme Power 9th Realm, in just a few moves, they knew that this young man was extraordinary. Even though he was only at the Supreme Power 6th Realm, his strength was no less than that of an ordinary Supreme Power 9th Realm. Some people said that this was a sneak attack, which was why it had such an effect. However, when one reached the Supreme Power Realm, he had already reached the realm of sensing the autumn wind before it moved. A mere sneak attack could not do anything to a Supreme Power Realm Master. If one had the ability to sneak attack a Supreme Power Realm Master, he would also have the ability to kill a Supreme Power Realm Master in a head-on fight. This was strength, not something that could be falsified. This was the way of martial artists. Whether one had the ability or not, they only needed to fight. How can he be so strong? Wu Quan and LV Shan's pupils also shrank. They were both shocked. They did not expect that Ren Howdon would be beaten to the ground by this young man in just a few moves. This was completely different from what they had imagined. Originally, they wanted to take this opportunity to humiliate this guy. They did not expect that it would backfire. Instead, Ren Howdon was humiliated and became a laughingstock. What kind of move is this? Many of the king tiers wanted to go even further. They were at a higher cultivation level, and they could completely sense the mysterious power contained within Xia Ping's moves. It was clearly an ordinary power, but when this young man used it, it was several times more destructive. Even the protective astral energy was unable to withstand it. Even with their king realm, they could not see through the mysteries within. They could only instinctively feel that this might be a martial art that surpassed the king realm. It was extraordinary. Not bad. This young man is not bad. Gu Shilai smiled and looked at Xia Ping with admiration. As expected of someone from the giant company, he was indeed very capable. What a powerful soul power. He is indeed a seedling of a king. Sun Yongdao's body emitted a strange fluctuation, as if he had sensed a secret on Xia Ping's body. Ren Haodong, do you have any objections now? Lu Wuming asked as he looked at Ren Haodong. Me? Ren Haodong gritted his teeth and struggled to get up from the wall. Because he had the physique of an elite adept, it was not so easy for him to suffer injuries that he could not get up from. Hence, he still had strength. He glared at Xia Ping fiercely. He wanted to recover from his injuries and fight with this brat again. But when he recalled this brat's exquisite fist technique and unstoppable power, he felt a chill. He instinctively felt that even if they fought again openly, he most likely would not be this brat's match. If he lost again, he would be asking to be humiliated. I have no objections. Ren Haodong lowered his head and clenched his fists. His nails dug into his flesh, causing a trace of blood to flow out. Evidently, he felt extremely unwilling to be so useless. But before this, he also did not know that this young man was so powerful. Then, does anyone have any objections to Xia Ping joining this trial? Lu Wuming looked around at the elite adepts around him. No one could tell what he was thinking, and he seemed to have a fair and just attitude. If you have any objections, feel free to speak. I'm a very modest person and will humbly accept your opinions, Xia Ping said humbly, indicating that he was someone who could listen to others' opinions. Wulsh *T. Many of the evolved Jing masters looked at Xia Ping with disdain. If Xia Ping was really a humble and open-minded person, how could he have attacked Ren Haodong just because of a disagreement? He showed no mercy and beat Ren Haodong to the ground with a few punches and kicks. If it was not for Ren Haodong's powerful strength, that attack would probably have him lying in the hospital for at least half a year. No matter how they looked at it, this bastard was a vengeful bastard. They were probably waiting to see who would jump out and cause trouble. This guy was probably waiting to take revenge. No, we have no objections. According to Brother Xia's battle prowess, joining this trial is a matter of course. That's right. If he can even defeat Ren Haodong, then there is no doubt that he is qualified. Yes, we all agree. Many of the elite adepts did not have any objections. Just now, Xia Ping had defeated Ren Haodong in just a few moves, which could be considered to have completely shocked all the elite adepts present. None of them dared to say anything anymore. Wu Quan and Lu Shan were also silent. Before seeing through Xia Ping's strength, they did not want to be the first to stand out and embarrass themselves like Ren Haodong in front of so many elite adepts and kings. All right, since no one has any objections, then Xia Ping will join the team for this trial. Lu Wuming stood with his hands behind his back. The trial will start tomorrow morning. You guys get ready. He waved his hand and let the elite adepts leave. Everyone, please follow me. We have prepared rooms for you to rest in the base. A group of soldiers came up and pointed out the path for Xia Ping and the rest. Following this, Xia Ping and the rest quickly left this empty space and went to the resting room of the Yanhuang base to rest. At this moment, many human kings and invincible kings had come to a conference room in the Yanhuang base. The surroundings were sealed, so no one could get any information from this conference room. The master trial was just the appetizer. The gathering of these kings was the real main course. Leader, may I know why you have asked us to gather together? Zhao Zhong and the other kings all knew that if it was just about the trial, the leader would not easily come out of seclusion, nor would he ask so many human kings to gather together. Something big must have happened to cause an invincible king to come out of seclusion and gather countless human kings to discuss this matter. Chapter 941. What? Hearing this, the kings present were shocked. They never thought that such news would come from the mouth of an invincible king. It was too shocking. Leader Gu, is this true? A king looked at Gu Shilai in shock, a little unable to believe his ears. It's true. It has been confirmed. Gu Shilai's face was very solemn. According to the speed of that spaceship, it should be able to reach the sky realm after a while. So far, we don't know whether they are enemies or friends. Why did they come? A spaceship? Many kings were silent. At their level, as the leaders of the human race, they naturally knew a lot of information that ordinary people did not know, including the existence of humans on other planets. In fact, for planet Yanhuang, the Sky Realm was actually an alien existence. It was just that they had been operating in this place for hundreds of years and had already regarded it as their own territory. In fact, with the development of technology, sooner or later, they would come into contact with aliens, but they did not expect it to be so fast and so unexpected. The more they understood the universe, the more they panicked about it. A planet like planet Yanhuang was actually just a low-level planet in the universe. In the eyes of advanced civilizations, it was just a native, an ant that could be wiped out with a wave of a hand. Even if the invincible kings seemed to be invincible in the Sky Realm, in the eyes of the alien experts, they were probably not worth mentioning. Once they encountered them, it would be a disaster for the humans of planet Yanhuang. Compared with the threat of Wanyao Mountain, the threat of aliens was the most terrible and the most impossible to resist. Leader, what should we do now? Many kings were panicking as they looked at the three invincible kings. Right now, only experts like these could become their backbone. No matter what else they had, it could not give them enough security. Everyone, don't worry too much. Gu Shilai said in a deep voice. First of all, there is only one such spaceship. It did not come in a group. I guess it is not to invade the Sky Realm. In this case, we may not necessarily have an armed conflict with the aliens. Secondly, the Sky Realm has a unique suppression of the heaven and earth rules. Cultivators higher than the divine power realm cannot exist here, so we do not need to worry about the strength of the other party. As long as the other party does not have enough people, we can use the tactic of numbers to suppress them. Sky Realm was a continent that existed in the universe. The heaven and earth rules were very unique. It did not seem to be formed naturally, but it was created by a great power. Originally, the suppression of the divine power realm was not so serious. It seemed that after a tragic war in the ancient times, the power of the world was triggered and the suppression of the creature's strength became more severe. Now, cultivators higher than the realm could not survive in the sky, but of the world of the divine power realm could not. Realm. Since divine realm cultivators could not break through to treasure refining realm in the cloud realm, divine realm cultivators have been the strongest existence in the cloud realm since ancient times. This was unfair to the creatures living in the cloud realm. If they could not leave the cloud realm, they would not be able to pry into higher cultivation realms. However, if one were to think about it from another perspective, perhaps this was also a great fortune. No matter how strong the outsiders were, they would not be able to sweep through the creatures of the cloud realm and have the power to fight the aliens. Taking 10,000 steps back, even if we can't resist the alien invasion, we can give up the Sky Realm and move back to Yanhuang Star. This is also the last resort. Gu Shilai said that he had made a series of preparations. It was a foolproof plan. Whether it would succeed or not depended on fate. Leader Gu, what do you need us to do? The kings looked at Gu Shilai with serious expressions. Unite all the friends. If the aliens really invade the Sky Realm, it will not only be a matter of us humans. It will be a matter of the myriad monster mountain and the countless races in the endless sea. Gu Shilai's eyes were cold. Once the aliens come, they can't stay out of it. We must let them join the war. He needed many monarchs to personally go to the Cloud Realm and act as lobbyists to unite the countless races. Don't worry. Leave it to us. The group of monarchs all nodded. They knew that humans alone would not be able to resist this huge disaster, so they had to unite all the powers that could be united. Everyone, Gu Shilai looked at them. In the Great Destruction era, humans were weak. In front of the tyrannical monsters, they could not fight back. They were almost wiped out. In that era, the people of planet Yanhuang were not wiped out. This time, we will not be wiped out. If the aliens dare to cross the line, we will not let them go easily. His body was filled with a terrifying killing intent, causing people to be terrified. Yes, the human kings clenched their fists. For 1,000 years, they had encountered all kinds of storms. They had faced the biggest crisis and survived. This time would not be an exception. Even if they were to die, they would bite off a piece of the enemy's flesh. The next day, Xiaoping and the others came to the deepest part of the Yanhuang base under the guidance of the marshal. One of the entrances to the path of the Demon King was in the base. This is one of the entrances to the path of the Demon King, the marshal said, pointing to a dark hole in front of them. It was unfathomably deep like a black hole. There was a whirlpool spinning inside, and it was impossible to see what was inside. Many grandmasters were nervous. After all, this was a road to trial with 9 out of 10 chances of survival. If they could not reach the king realm, they would die inside. I'll tell you the truth, the marshal said in a low voice. We know very little about this trial. We don't know what the trial is about. We don't even know how to get out after entering. This is a road of 9 out of 10 chances of survival. If anyone wants to give up, you could decide now. This is not a forced decision. Once you enter, you will never be able to come out again. I hope everyone will be careful. He said the risks here. Don't worry, we already know this. There is no need to waste your breath. Those who can reach the Grandmaster level have long put life and death aside. For us, there is nothing more important than becoming a king. If you can't become a king, you'd rather die, one of the old Grandmasters said resolutely. For these old men who were stuck at the peak of the 9th level of the Grandmaster realm, if they did not become a king, they would die. Their lifespan would be exhausted, and there would be no more hope. Well, since you all know, I won't waste any more time. Go in. The marshal waved his hand. Whoosh, whoosh. The group of Grandmasters did not hesitate and walked in one by one. Chapter 942. Boom. As soon as they stepped into the black vortex, the Grandmasters felt the world spin. In the next second, they appeared in another space and stepped on the ground. Huh, where are we? The Grandmasters looked around and found themselves in a primeval forest. The surroundings were lush, and birds were singing and flowers were fragrant. What a dense spiritual energy of heaven and earth. A Grandmaster could not help but exclaim. He felt that this strange space seemed to be filled with spiritual energy that was even denser than the cloud realm. It was equivalent to a holy land for cultivation. Because of this, the trees in this primeval forest were very tall. They were at least dozens of meters tall, and even the weeds were 2 meters tall. When people walked in, they were instantly drowned by the weeds. They could not be seen at all. What's going on? The black vortex has disappeared. How do we go back? Someone quickly discovered that there was a black vortex with a diameter of 2 to 3 meters on the ground. After they passed through it, it disappeared in a few seconds. There was no way back. Many Grandmasters had ugly expressions. Although they had been warned by the army marshal that there was no way back, they only realized the seriousness of this matter when they came to this trial ground. Don't worry. Since this is the trial space of the Demon Clan, it is not a space where death is certain. There must be a way back. We just need to look for it carefully. That's right. If there is a way in, there will naturally be a way back. It is said that this is a trial space, but what is the content of this trial? Indeed, if we don't know, we can't act. We don't know how to advance to the King Realm at all. We're not the only ones in this trial space. There are also Demon Clan Grandmasters. If we can find them, we might be able to ask them. Many Grandmasters were experienced and far-sighted people. They had various ways to deal with all kinds of unexpected situations. Although they had no clue, they soon found a breakthrough. As long as they could find the geniuses of the Demon Clan who were also participating in the trial, they would definitely find a way to find out the secret of this trial space. Xiaoping did not say anything. He just watched quietly. Rumble, at this moment, a strange vibration came from the depths of the forest. Immediately, the black demonic trees ran out in groups. They were completely black, and their bodies were filled with a strange black aura. They seemed to be corroding the surrounding green plants and devouring everything. Their feet were made up of countless roots, numbering in the hundreds. When they ran, they were like super tanks, crushing everything in front of them. Boulders and trees were instantly smashed into smithereens. On the tree trunk, there were 2 deep black eyes, as well as a mouth full of sharp teeth. The teeth were like a saw, and were even more ferocious than the teeth of a shark. What kind of creature is this? Why is it different from the previous ones? 2 hands, 2 feet, no tail, wings, and scales. Why does it look like a legendary human? Tis TSK. So what if you're a human? Anyone who dares to intrude into this space will die. No one is an exception. Attack. Kill them all. Leave no one alive. I wonder what the flesh and blood of the legendary human tastes like. The taste must be excellent. These black demonic trees quickly discovered the existence of Xia Ping and the others. Although they were a little surprised, they reacted quickly. Their murderous aura surged, and they rushed over like an army charging, emitting a strong, killing intent. To them, any living creature that intruded into this space was an invader, and they had to die. Demonic trees? There are demonic trees in this place. Are they monsters from the Thousand Demon Mountain? No, they're completely different. These black demonic trees contain an evil and dark aura. It's simply a collection of killing. Although the Thousand Demon Mountain is also full of monsters, they are still rational, and their bodies would not be surrounded by such a dark and bloody aura. Are they creatures from this space? I don't know. Anyway, they're enemies, not friends. Kill these demonic trees. Seeing these black tree demons charging at them, the human grandmasters did not hold back. All of them were veterans who had been through countless battles. Of course, they would not panic over such a small matter. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, these black demonic trees rushed over. Hundreds of their roots shot out like spears, tearing the air and whistling, covering an area. Die. A saber or grandmaster immediately took out a treasured saber and slashed at it. With a bang, sparks flew in all directions. It was a powerful strike, but he was incomparably shocked because this saber couldn't even cut through the roots of the black demonic tree. When the sword slashed on the roots, it was like slashing on steel, causing his hand to go numb. Weak human. A black demonic tree smiled malevolently. With a poochy sound, dozens of roots instantly pierced through the blade Dao Grandmaster's body. Dozens of bloody holes appeared in his body with a swooshing sound. But what made the surrounding human masters even more frightened was that these roots that pierced into the body of the Saber Master actually produced a strong devouring power. After a few breaths, the body of the Saber Master turned into a withered corpse, as if he was a 1,000-year-old mummy. And the black demonic tree exploded with bloody light, like a bloody sun, extremely dazzling. It actually revealed an expression of satisfaction. Human, not bad, delicious food. After devouring a human master, the black demonic tree's power and aura increased greatly. Seeing this, the other demonic trees were all excited. The legendary humans are indeed top-class food. Devouring one can greatly increase one's power. These are all spiritual herbs. Capture them alive, kill them, and refine them. Many black demonic trees' eyes glowed with bloody light, and they howled, spreading for miles. As if hearing this howl, countless demonic trees in the depths of the forest started to shake. The ground shook as if there was a super earthquake with a magnitude of 7 or 8. The human masters present immediately knew that these black demonic trees were gathering companions. Just these black demonic trees alone could cause great trouble. If their numbers kept increasing, they would definitely die. They didn't expect to encounter such a crisis as soon as they stepped into this trial space. Go to hell. A black demonic tree growled. It actually stared at Xia Ping, who was in front of it. According to its perception, this human was the weakest among the group. As the saying goes, to pinch a persimmon is to pinch the soft one. These black demonic trees were the same. They wanted to kill the weak human in the first attack, and then slowly encircle the stronger human. You're courting death. Chapter 943. Xia Ping made his move immediately. He had no intention of showing mercy to the black tree demon that was trying to kill him. Superior King level martial arts technique, clapless palm. He struck out with his palm soundlessly. Even the air did not fluctuate at all. The black tree demon did not feel any danger. It still treated Xia Ping as a soft persimmon that it could crush at will. However, in the next second, the palm landed on the black tree demon and a terrifying force exploded. Dong! The black tree demon's eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. The terrifying destructive force vibrated crazily in its body. Even the Sword Dao Grandmaster's all-out attack could not break its roots. Now, under Xia Ping's palm, it broke inch by inch, exploding into countless wood shavings. The black tree demon let out a shrill scream. Its entire body split into countless pieces, and a large amount of black liquid sprayed on the ground. With a sizzling sound, the black liquid corroded the ground, turning all the weeds growing on the ground into nothingness. Damn it! This human dares to kill my people. Let's go together and kill him. I want to eat him and swallow his flesh. Previously, these black tree demon had easily killed a human grandmaster. They thought that all humans were so weak, like sheep that could only be killed. However, now, they saw a human with a very weak aura suddenly attack and instantly kill one of their companions. They did not even have the strength to fight back. Instantly, they were enraged and almost lost their minds. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In the blink of an eye, 7 or 8 black demonic trees attacked, covering the sky and covering the earth. From east, west, south, north, and south, they surrounded Xia Ping tightly, not giving Xia Ping any chance to escape. At the same time, each black tree demon waved hundreds of terrifying roots like a group of demons dancing. Just one black tree demon was already so terrifying. Now that 7 or 8 tree demon had appeared, the threat simply increased exponentially. Thousands of spear-like roots shot out. Any human grandmaster would probably not be able to withstand it and would definitely die. This kid is finished. The surrounding human grandmasters felt that it was a pity. This famous genius was going to die just after entering the trial space. It was such a pity, but now they couldn't even take care of themselves and couldn't lend a helping hand. Unmovable Buddha palms, profound meaning, Buddha's radiance, illumination. At this moment, Xia Ping was unfazed. He circulated the pure, yang, immortal incantation, causing his earth energy to tremble as he unleashed a king-class fist technique toward the group of demonic trees. This punch was an area of effect fist technique. With a single punch, hundreds and thousands of fist prints seemed to appear in the void. Each fist imprint contained a terrifying flame energy, emitting a blazing radiance, as if a Buddha had appeared, subduing demons and devils, illuminating the world. Bang, bang, bang. These fist prints bombarded the roots of the black demonic tree. Every time they collided, an astonishing loud sound would erupt. It was like a missile exploding, the air exploding and roaring. The fiery power of the fists also exploded, spreading in all directions and landing on the bodies of the black demonic trees like raindrops. These flames were like inextinguishable flames. When they landed on the black demonic trees, they used the black aura and black liquid as fuel and began to burn crazily. Suddenly, the black demonic trees let out shrill screams, like pigs being slaughtered. They had never experienced such terrible pain before. This was a burning from the depths of their souls. To these black demonic trees, the terrifying flames formed by the essence of the sun on Xia Ping's body were simply their natural nemesis, completely suppressing them. Even a little bit of it would cause great harm. In just a few breaths, the originally arrogant and abnormally ferocious black demonic trees were burned into black charcoal. Some parts were even reduced to ashes. Seeing this, all the black demonic trees present went crazy. If only a few of their companions had died, they wouldn't have been so crazy. But now, they were killed without any resistance. Their entire bodies were burned to ashes, unable to resist at all. This caused endless fear to rise in their hearts. Damn it! How can this human master such a terrifying flame energy? Kill him immediately. This is the nemesis of our Blackwood tribe. This is our natural enemy. Many black demonic trees screamed crazily. Originally, in this space, these black demonic trees didn't have any natural enemies. With their extremely strong recovery ability and the corrosive power of the black liquid, they were simply like locusts sweeping away everything. No matter what kind of race encountered them, they would die a violent death or be exterminated easily. But now, the situation had completely changed. Encountering this human who could control such a terrifying flame, he had killed the Blackwood tribe like chickens. This made them extremely panicked. Like a flock of chickens encountering their natural enemy, a weasel, they were on the verge of going crazy. Whoosh, whoosh. Now, not only were there 7 or 8 black demonic trees attacking, but there were also dozens of them. It was as if they had an irreconcilable hatred with Xia Ping, and they wouldn't stop until one of them was dead. They even roared and shouted to their companions, saying that even if they had to pay a huge price, they would kill this human. A natural enemy like this should not exist in this world. Little friend, don't be afraid. I will help you. Suddenly, 2 or 3 human grandmasters jumped out. They were all old and clumsy, at least 100 or 200 years old. Their bodies emitted an aura of old age. However, their bodies were extremely vigorous, like a round sun, blooming with dazzling light. One was a Xingyi grandmaster who had mastered the Xingyi fist technique. Every punch and kick was like a terrifying killing weapon, incomparably ferocious, exploding with terrifying power like a missile, the air exploding. One was a Tai Chi grandmaster in a white robe. His fist technique was both soft and hard, and he stood on the ground, seemingly forming a Tai Chi vortex with his body as the center, controlling the airflow. One was a military boxing grandmaster. He seemed to be a grandmaster who had killed his way out of the army. He was proficient in military boxing and killing techniques, and every move was aimed at killing. The 3 grandmasters attacked and instantly destroyed 3 black demonic trees. Wood chips flew everywhere, causing the black demonic trees' attacks to stagnate and intimidate the enemies. Good. Xia Ping didn't expect 3 human grandmasters to help at this critical moment. He also attacked repeatedly, manipulating the power of flames to burn the black demonic trees to death. Originally, he thought that he could combine the power of many human grandmasters to completely kill this group of demonic trees. However, he didn't expect that in the next second, Wu Quan, Lu Shan, Ren Haodong, and the other grandmasters would take the lead and escape. They took advantage of the moment when they were fighting with the black demonic trees to quickly escape. Chapter 944. They're running away. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. Although he was already mentally prepared that this group of masters would not work together, he did not expect them to choose to run away together at this time, abandoning them without the slightest intention of helping. This group of bastards. The 3 old masters' expressions were very ugly. They were instantly infuriated by this group of human masters who took the opportunity to escape. Even though they knew that some of them liked to watch others die, they did not expect that they would run away without even daring to fight. This kind of courage was even smaller than that of a mouse. It would be stupid to help you. Wu Quan and Lu Shan sneered, not caring at all about the anger of the 3 old masters. They could clearly see the current situation, which was that the human masters were at an absolute disadvantage. This was because this was the territory of the Black Tree Demons, and there was a steady stream of troops coming from afar. Even if they killed dozens of Black Tree Demons in a short time, they would be trapped in the mud of war. At that time, who knew how many masters would be killed or injured before they could escape with their lives? They did not come to this trial space to die, but to search for opportunities. Each of them had their own thoughts, and it was impossible for them to sacrifice their lives for others. Therefore, when they saw that someone was actually entangling this group of Black Tree Demons, creating an opportunity for them to escape, they did not have any reason to stay, and each of them slipped away. Xia Ping, this is divine punishment, divine punishment. Just die obediently under the siege of this group of Black Tree Demons. Ren Haodong's heart was filled with incomparable joy. As for this bastard who had once humiliated him, he could not wait to see him suffer 8 lifetimes of bad luck. Therefore, seeing that Xia Ping was surrounded, he would definitely not help. Instead, he would curse fiercely, letting this bastard die under the siege of countless Black Tree Demons. In just a few breaths' time, the group of human masters disappeared completely, leaving only Xia Ping and the 3 old masters to fight this group of Black Tree Demons alone. What should we do? Did this group of humans escape? Ignore these cowardly people. Kill this human who can control fire. He can actually control fire that can harm our Blackwood tribe. This human really deserves to die. We definitely can't let him live. Yes, other humans don't matter, but this human must die. Many black tree demons were full of murderous intent. They did not care about the other humans who were escaping, but specifically targeted Xiaoping. All of them attacked with murderous intent. Damn it! The three old grandmasters immediately felt the majestic pressure of dozens of black demonic trees. Each black demonic tree had at least the strength of the supreme master seventh heaven or above. Furthermore, there were too many enemies. 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. Bang, bang, bang. The tree branches were like sharp arrows and long spears, piercing through everything and bombarding the 3 grandmasters. In an instant, they were heavily injured and couldn't help but cough up blood. This won't do. There are too many of these black demonic trees. I can't kill them all. Little friend Xia, run away. With us 3 old bones here, you should be able to stall for some time. You are still young, and you have the strength to become an invincible king. You should not die here. The 3 old grandmasters were brimming with killing intent as they stood in front of Xiaoping, trying to buy him some time to escape. There's no need, senior. I can kill these black demonic trees like killing pigs and dogs. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes, and his killing intent soared. He grabbed at the air, and a divine sword immediately appeared in his hand. This was a precious weapon obtained from the celestial demon battlefield, the flaming dragon divine sword. The moment this treasured sword appeared, a fiery dragon seemed to rise from the void, emitting endless heat. It was like a sun spanning across the void. With Xiaoping's body as the center, a flaming aura of several miles immediately erupted, and the surrounding temperature instantly rose by hundreds or even thousands of degrees. Kill! Xiaoping held the flaming dragon divine sword and operated the pure yang immortal incantation. The majestic flame gang qi in his body was like an ocean, crazily surging into the flaming dragon divine sword. With a precious fire weapon like the flaming dragon divine sword, coupled with Xiaoping's pure yang immortal incantation, the essence of the sun and other fire energy, the power was increased by more than 10 times. With a slash of the sword, hundreds of flaming dragons suddenly appeared in midair, condensed into a solid substance, roared in the void, and pounced toward the black demonic trees, boiling with killing intent. Bang, bang, bang. These flaming dragons pounced on the black demonic trees, opened their fangs, and bit down. In an instant, the black demonic trees' branches were bitten to pieces, making cracking sounds. These flames even burned crazily on the black demonic trees, and in just a few breaths, they turned into huge torches, the flames soaring into the sky. No, no, no! The black demonic trees let out shrill screams, rolling on the ground, constantly struggling, trying to use mud or water to extinguish the fire, but to no avail. This was like a flame burning on top of oil. This method not only failed to extinguish the flames, but also made the flames more intense, seeping into every part of their bodies. The most terrifying thing was that these black demonic trees were too densely packed, and the flames burned like a forest fire, spreading one after another. This was simply a one-sided massacre. From a distance, it looked like a forest fire had broken out. Hundreds of trees were burning, and people within 100 miles could clearly see the flames soaring into the sky. The ground was also burned by the flames, turning into a pile of black charcoal. Too fierce. Where did he get this precious fire weapon? This is simply heaven-defying. Are all the young people these days so incredible? The 3 old grandmasters were all dumbfounded. Previously, when they were being chased by hundreds of black demonic trees, they were in a precarious situation, and there was almost no chance of survival. They had planned to sacrifice themselves to buy some time for Xiaoping to escape. They had the grief and indignation of facing death with equanimity, but they did not expect the situation to take a turn for the worse, and there was no need to escape at all. Xiaoping, alone with his sword, was like a god of fire descending, burning the world. These black demonic trees that looked incomparably ferocious and evil were killed one by one, burned, and turned into ashes. Their large numbers had instead become their disadvantage, the most fatal weakness. Senior, run quickly. After killing a group of black, demonic trees, Xiaoping called out to the 3 old grandmasters, and they quickly fled. That was because this move had used up almost all of his stellar energy. Behind them, there were still countless black, demonic trees attacking. If they continued to stay in this place, they would probably be drowned in the black, demonic trees' attacks. He would also die from exhausting his stellar chi. Chapter 945. 2 hours later, Xiaoping and the 3 old grandmasters ran wildly and finally got rid of the pursuit of the black demonic trees. They came to a secret cave in the forest, which was a place for a short rest. He also learned the names of the 3 grandmasters. Lu Qi, the Xingyi grandmaster, Guo Suni, and Li Yun, the military boxing grandmaster. They were all old monsters who had lived for more than 200 years. However, because of their limited qualifications, they had been stuck at the peak of the supreme power realm and had not broken through. Therefore, they entered this trial space in order to find the opportunity to break through. Thank you for your help. I'm grateful. Xiaoping cupped his hands and said. Guo Suni, the Tai Chi grandmaster, waved his hand and said, "It's not a help. It's just a hindrance. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid the 3 of us would have died here. Indeed, after living for more than 200 years, this is all I can do." Lu Qi, the Xingyi grandmaster, sighed. Li Yun, the military boxing grandmaster, was silent. Obviously, he was also a little unwilling. The previous scene had brought great excitement to them. The 3 old men, who were more than 600 years old, were actually not as good as a young man. The gap was too big. Seniors, there is no need to belittle yourself. As the saying goes, age does not determine one's ambition. If you could be promoted to the king realm this time, your lifespan will be greatly increased. At that time, 200 years will just be the beginning. Xiaoping said carelessly. Of course, if you haven't been promoted to the king realm at more than 200 years old, your qualifications are indeed a little poor. I can understand that you are discouraged. But you don't have to compare yourself with me. In any case, I am a once-in-a-thousand-years genius. If you compare yourself with me, it's like showing off in front of Confucius or showing off in front of Guan Yu. You're a little overconfident. He stood with his hands behind his back, showing an appearance of being the only one seeking defeat. Bullshit. Hearing this, Guo Suni, the Tai Chi grandmaster, was so angry that his beard curled up. Don't be fooled by your young age. If you don't use a precious weapon, believe it or not, I won't be at a disadvantage if we fight. I can even defeat you with one hand. He grimaced and was very unconvinced. Xiaoping's words had aroused his fighting spirit. Is there anyone who comforts others like you? The Xingyi grandmaster, Lu Qi, was also speechless. He knew that Xiaoping's words weren't out of discrimination or malice. He was just trying to comfort them. But why was it so awkward to say these words? It made him angry. I finally know why you have so many enemies in the world. Even I want to beat you up a little. I kind of regret saving you. The corners of the military boxing grandmaster Li Yun's mouth twitched. Senior, it's already too late to know about this. There's no medicine for regret in this world. Xiaoping waved his hand, but the injuries on your bodies are a bit heavy. It's better if you take some healing pills. With a backhand slap, 2 or 3 dark green pills immediately appeared in his right palm. This is a top-grade healing pill, the Jade Radish pill. You actually have it? The 3 old grandmasters widened their eyes. They knew how precious this Jade Radish pill was. It was said that as long as a person still had a breath left, he could save them. Healing pills are a must when traveling the pugilistic world. You don't have to stand on ceremony. I have a lot of these pills. I have several boxes at home. Xiaoping revealed a rich and overbearing look. These healing pills had been plundered from the Shark Demon Monarch's treasure trove. He had basically never suffered any injuries, so these healing pills were useless to him. Now, he could take them out and make use of them. The 3 old grandmasters were speechless. They were shocked by Xiaoping's wealth. Even a monarch probably did not have several boxes of jade radish pills at home. How rich was this fellow? However, they suddenly recalled the many deeds Xia Ping had done. He had auctioned off a demon monarch's descendant and plundered the shark demon monarch's treasure trove. Just these two deeds alone were enough to make this kid rich overnight. The amount of wealth he had was probably something an ordinary large family could not accumulate in 10 lifetimes. I'll cut to the chase. These jade radish pills are indeed what we need now. I will remember this favor, little friend. If we can get out of here alive, we will definitely repay you generously. The three grandmasters looked at each other and cupped their hands at Xia Ping. They were very serious. They were not pedantic people. They knew how dangerous it was to drag their heavily injured bodies in this trial space that was fraught with danger. Therefore, they had to treat their injuries as soon as possible. As for Xia Ping's life-saving grace, they would remember it. Once they had the ability, they would definitely repay him. This was also their code of conduct. Otherwise, they would not have stepped forward in times of danger. Soon, the three grandmasters swallowed the jade radish pills that Xia Ping had taken out. These were indeed supreme-grade healing pills. Although they had suffered serious injuries and their lungs had been damaged, they quickly recovered under the treatment of the jade radish pills. It was as if they had been soaked in a high-level nutrient solution. Their various injuries recovered to their original state. In merely an hour, they'd recovered completely. Young brother, according to your natural talent and wealth, advancing into the king realm is only a matter of time. Why did you take the risk to follow us into this trial space that has a slim chance of survival? Asked Guatsuni curiously. After the battle from before, he'd understood how terrifying Xia Ping's natural talent was. Advancing into the king realm was only a matter of time, so there was utterly no need for Xia Ping to fight for such a dangerous, fortuitous encounter with them who were on the verge of death. Seniors, it's a slim chance of survival for all of you, but it's only a stepping stone for true geniuses. Would such a tiny place be dangerous? Xia Ping gazed at the three old men with contempt, and he seemed to be unable to understand their thoughts. It was like how a mouse would flee in terror when encountering a cat, but a tiger would flatten the cat with a single slap. They weren't on the same level at all. Young brother Xia, fortunately, I've lived for over 200 years, and I'm shrewd enough to barely control myself. Otherwise, the consequences of speaking such words would be rather severe. Guatsuni's expression was extremely dark. As expected, I can't get along with you. Our personalities aren't compatible, and there's a generation gap. The Xingyi Grandmaster, Lu Qi, bared his teeth. To be honest, young brother Xia, it's very easy for you to be beaten up if you walk out on the streets like this. The military boxing Grandmaster, Li Yun, clenched his fists tightly, but he quickly relaxed them again. He forcefully resisted the urge to beat Xia Ping up. Senior, there seems to be some movement up ahead. Xia Ping originally wanted to say a few words of modesty, but suddenly his spiritual power sensed intense battle fluctuations in the distance. It wasn't far from here, only 2 to 3 kilometers away. It's the demon race. A trace of cold light flashed in the eyes of the military boxing grandmaster, Li Yun, and his spiritual power spread out. I've been in the army for over 100 years, and I've experienced several wars with the demon race. I've killed countless demons. This aura is definitely from the demon race. His tone was resolute and decisive. Let's go and take a look. Chapter 946. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Xia Ping and the 3 old grandmasters leaped around and controlled the airflow. They shuttled through the forest like supersonic airplanes and soon arrived at the battlefield. What monsters are these? Tai Chi Grandmaster Guatsuni was shocked. He immediately saw dozens of 100-meter-tall rock giants appearing on a vast plain in front of him. They were similar to ordinary giants with hands, feet, eyes, mouths, noses, and so on. However, their bodies were made of rock and were different from the demons. In fact, they were even different from humans. If they had to be categorized, in the universe, the demon race and the human race were actually considered the same race. They were considered life forms of flesh and blood and had their own bodies. However, These rock giants were not flesh and blood at all. They were a unique life form that was neither human nor demon. They would not bleed even if they were hurt. At that moment, dozens of demons appeared in front of these rock giants. These demons were in a sorry state when faced with the rock giants' attacks. They fled frantically, and almost all of them were injured. They were forced into a desperate situation and were about to die. These rock giants are very strong. Li Yun, the military boxing grandmaster, narrowed his eyes. He could see that every rock giant was a true martial Dao grandmaster who had mastered exquisite martial skills. Ordinary humans had a biased view of giants. They thought that because of their large size, their movements would definitely be very slow. However, in fact, this was a huge mistake. It was like comparing humans and ants. To ants, humans were more than 1,000,000 times larger than themselves, but were humans very slow. By the same logic, these 100-meter-tall rock giants moved incredibly fast like humans. They were extremely flexible, fast, and agile. They had also mastered extremely powerful martial skills. One could imagine that no matter how powerful these demon geniuses were, they would still be beaten into a sorry state when faced with such powerful rock giants. They could only flee in all directions. I've met someone familiar. Xiaoping raised his eyebrows and probed with his mental strength. He immediately sensed the identities of the dozens of demons. Among them were Tu Linglong, the crow of misfortune, the metal tiger, the three-eyed giant, the green Wan, and other demon geniuses. Apart from these demon geniuses, there were also many veteran demon grandmasters that he had never seen before. However, it was obvious that even with so many demon grandmasters gathered together, they were still being beaten back by these rock giants and were on the verge of death. Bang! A stone giant punched out. The fist that was like a small mountain struck out, bringing with it a shocking gust of wind as it smashed into the body of a grandmaster demon. The grandmaster monster let out a shrill scream. It was unable to withstand such a shocking force. Its entire body was smashed into pieces and turned into a mass of minced meat. Dying! Several demon grandmasters went berserk as they charged at the stone giant in front of them. Terrifying astral winds formed in midair, but when they struck the stone giant, they only produced some stone chips. They failed to harm the stone giant in the slightest. Seeing this, the rock giant revealed a disdainful smile and slapped out with his palm. Immediately, 3 or 4 monster grandmasters were sent flying like flies. They had no power to resist at all. They flew backward for 5 or 6 kilometers and finally smashed into a mountain in the distance. Obviously, after experiencing such a fierce attack, these monster grandmasters could no longer survive. This won't do. This rock giant is too powerful. Its strength is many times stronger than ours. Even the toughness of its body is extremely terrifying. Our attacks can't harm this rock giant at all. How are we supposed to fight it? We're so unlucky. We were so careful, but how do we get discovered by this group of rock giants? The crow of misfortune, the metal tiger, the three-eyed giant, and the other monsters all had extremely ugly expressions. They did not expect to encounter such misfortune in just a few days after entering the trial space. If this continued, they would die before they could advance to the Demon King realm. Sister Green Phoenix. Tu Linglong was very worried. She could not help but look at Green Phoenix beside her. Due to the rock giant's attack, Green Phoenix had suffered considerable damage. She had lost 50% of her strength. Don't worry. Even in such a dangerous situation, Green Phoenix still maintained absolute calmness. We are no match for these rock giants in a head-on battle. However, they are huge and can't travel through the complicated terrain. If we hide in the caves of the mountains, they won't be able to find us. She believed that they had no chance of winning a head-on battle, but there was still a chance of winning by escaping. Let's escape. That's right. If we split up, no matter how powerful those rock giants are, they won't be able to kill all of us. If we're lucky, some of us can survive. All right, then let's part ways here. I wish you all good luck. Hearing these words, the surrounding monsters looked at each other. They could all see each other's intention to retreat. They knew that if they continued to resist stubbornly, only death would await them. It was better to split up. That way, some of them would be able to survive. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the demons fled in all directions. Some fled to the east. Some fled to the west. Some fled to the north. Some fled to the south. As for Tu Ling Long and Green Phoenix, they fled to the east. In an instant, all the monsters fled in all directions. The rock giant was caught off guard by this move. However, this action also completely enraged the rock giant. An ant wants to escape? Dream on. Attack together. Surround them from all directions. Not a single monster can escape. Kill them, one by one. The rock giants let out an earth-shattering roar. They also split up and chased after the escaping monsters, as though they would not rest until one of them was dead. They were huge and traversed hundreds of meters with a single step. Their speed was not something that ordinary monsters could compare with. In a few breaths, some of the rock giants caught up to some of the escaping monsters and immediately smacked a few of them to death. Don't look back. Run. Green Phoenix was expressionless. A pair of wings grew on its back and constantly flapped as it fled with Tu Ling Long. It was like a supersonic plane that even the rock giants could not catch up to. However, when they rushed to the edge of the forest, they were given a huge fright. This was because they sensed a few tyrannical auras lying in ambush at the edge of the forest, as though they were waiting for their prey. It's over. Could it be that those detestable rock giants have ambushed us? Tu Ling Long immediately felt despair. Green Phoenix was also on guard.